the air for a bomb. Catch. The Wolverines, the 10-5, touchdown Woodside. Like Ray said, you don't like to be interviewed that often, but you got to do it, he'll do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Hey, let me get in this. Yeah.
Price.
Ray, and welcome to beautiful Todd Stadium. Greg Picaveros along with Nate Milton, our 35th season of high school football. Nate, good to see you.
Absolutely glad to be back, Greg. We are back and better than ever, folks. And we have a fun game to kick off our season with.
Both teams 0-1.
Both teams trying to right the ship, trying to get right. But, Greg, unless there's a tie, only one of these teams can walk out with a win. So it's going to be exciting to see whether Oscar Smith or Warwick can change their fortunes tonight.
And you know the old expression, you can't make a tiger a vegetarian either.
You cannot make a tiger a vegetarian, but we'll see. Will the Raiders be dining on tiger or tofu tonight? We'll find out tonight, folks.
Let's get right to it. Of course, Oscar Smith, defending state champion from Chesapeake, Virginia, right in the Great Bridge section of Chesapeake. Glad you're with us live on NNPS Telecom. Beautiful weather, mostly in the 80s tonight, but there's some shade right now.
The last little bits of summer, Greg, are here in this September evening, and we're glad to be back with some high school football action.
Flags all over the place. Let's get right to the officials. Donald Young, Zachary Ray, Dr. Reginald Stanley, Steve Hagwood, Christian Walker, Brian Potts, Calvin Hunt, and, of course, on the clock, Anthony Sam. And, of course, all the officials, the players, still trying to get the kinks out.
Yeah, still early on in the season, Greg, so it's a learning curve for both the players, the coaches, and the officials, and it's going to be an exciting game. I think this is going to be a bit of a measuring stick game for the Warwick Raiders, Greg.
Warwick's got to play the football, not the opponent, because they can get intimidated quickly. Both teams are going to be anxious. They both are 0-1. Neither team has scored this year. So what are the keys, first of all, for Oscar Smith?
Oscar Smith, you got to remember what brought you to the dance. You're the defending state champs. You got to dig into that championship pedigree, and you got to come out and start hot. Start fast tonight against the Warwick Raiders.
Oscar Smith going left to right in the blue and white uniforms. Their arch rival is Grassfield. So many great players have come from Oscar Smith. Nice run on the outside, and right away, daylight. The big play will be important.
Yeah, if Warwick wants to have a chance in this game, Greg, against the Oscar Smith Tigers, they have to limit plays like that. You can't allow those big chunk plays to the defending state champs. You got to go in there and mix it up a little bit. And this defensive front four, that's who's going to have to set the tone for the Raiders tonight.
Oscar Smith likes the spread. Warwick countering the 4-2 defense. Oscar Smith coached by Chris Scott. Warwick coached by Thomas Sykes. Penalties will kill you, and usually the defense is ahead of the offense early on, but you don't want to start in the hole this early.
No, and if you're Oscar Smith, you have to hate that because that negates what was a great opening play on this drive for the Tigers. And so, yeah, you have to limit these mistakes, especially like we said, Greg, both of these teams trying to get their first victory of the season. You can't help the other team out by committing silly penalties.
Last year does not matter. It's a brand new season. Even ball game just underway at Todd Stadium in Newport News. Greg Picaveros, Nate Milton, glad you're with us. No score. Quick outlet pass is complete. And a nice catch right there by number 2. And that is Bradley. Warwick's had some injuries too.
Yeah, Warwick dealing with some injuries, dealing with, kind of getting things right, keeping the culture moving forward after Corey Harrison, who had a great tenure as the head coach of the Warwick Raiders, stepped down. We got Coach Sykes now trying to continue that tradition, continue building upon that foundation. But as you mentioned, Greg, with the injuries, with some of these new players getting playing time, it is kind of hard to keep that consistency going.
Warwick in the all gold yellow uniforms. Their colors are burgundy, gold, and white. Of course, time waits for nobody. These two teams we mentioned are anxious for points, they're anxious for a win. Keys for Warwick.
I think the keys for Warwick, you have to come out and play within yourself. Like you said, Greg, play the ball, not the man. You don't want to be intimidated as soon as you step on the field. Got to go out there, dictate things. Todd Stadium is your house, and you have to make the Tigers feel like unwelcome house guests, Greg.
Of course, the last several years, a brand new football field out here makes it a more pleasing atmosphere for everybody. Of course, great concessions. People are still getting used to the school year, so
Yes.
It's like that back-to-school pencil. You know, you're trying to sharpen it, but it ain't quite there yet.
Yes. Make sure you get all your supplies, Greg, because class is in session tonight.
And nice catch right there by number 6. And that's McLeod for Oscar Smith. A parallel here, too, between these two schools. Bill Lyons was the coach after Thad Madden stepped down in 1980 from 81 to 94 for Warwick. And then his next job was at Oscar Smith.
Yeah. So many connections in here, you know, in the Hampton Roads area, especially when it comes to high school football. And, yes, just a shared bit of tradition. But they're not going to let that familial connection damper the intensity tonight, Greg. Both of these teams want to come out with their first victory of the year.
Keep your eye on Lonnie Andrews as well. Number 3 for Smith. They like to be called Smith. Thank you to both athletic directors this week for all their assistance. Of course, it's early on, but you don't want to start the season 0-2.
No.
Because football, you have a whole week to think about it. And you can toss and turn a lot.
And as the great Yogi Berra said, Greg, it gets late early. And if you fall into an 0-2 hole, it can be that much harder to kind of get yourself into postseason contention.
Keep an eye on the energy. Stay focused for 48 minutes. Offense, defense, special teams have to be in sync because they're all in motion because you're making so many penalties.
And this is really one of those games where you have to play good, fundamental, sound football. You can't beat yourself because these are two opponents that if you give them an inch, Greg, they're going to take a mile, especially when you're talking about these Tigers, the defending state champions.
Incomplete pass from Andrews. No score, 9:19 left in the first quarter. Oscar Smith on the road from Chesapeake, won the state championship. They've had some great players in the past as well, like Josh Sweat, Andrew Brown, Kenny Easley, Phillip Sims. I saw him play on national TV a few times in person. And, of course, Ethan Vasco now is at Liberty.
Yep. And you mentioned Josh Sweat. We got to see him last night as part of that NFL kickoff game with the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Nice run by Oscar Smith. Fundamentals and consistency are key, especially that first quarter.
Yeah, you have to set the tone, Greg. And again, we're seeing penalties that can be a drive killer, penalties that can just get in the way of any momentum that you're trying to gather on offense. And both of these teams are so well coached, Greg, you don't want to let penalties and silly mental errors get in the way of success.
35th year broadcasting high school football on the peninsula. Once again, Oscar Smith, yes, they won the state championship, but they're prone to mistakes and penalties early just like any other team. It takes several games really to get a feel for yourself.
And I think Lonnie Andrews made a statement about this earlier in the week, Greg, where he was basically saying we're not looking at it as defending our championships. We're looking at it as if we are not the hunters, but we are, not the hunted, but the hunters. We want to go out there and win like we haven't won before. We want that same hunger.
Friday night football catch up the middle. The bread and butter combination right there. And that's McLeod.
And I think you can see the talent, Greg, even on this opening drive that Lonnie Andrews had, the potential that's there. He's just got to kind of settle down. Sometimes I think particularly for young players in big spots, they play a little too fast. You got to kind of slow down and let the game come to you.
And that was Johnson for Chesapeake. Remember, listen to your coaches, game plan, scheme. We mentioned this early in the season. Play the ball and focus on yourself, not the opponent. Because what you're seeing already is Oscar Smith is chewing up a lot of clock.
Yeah, they're chewing up a lot of clock, moving forwards and backwards, kind of like a lot of folks out there on I-64 this afternoon coming home from work. But we'll see if they can pay this long drive off. But, yes, they are controlling the clock management aspect of the game so far.
Nice run by Oscar Smith. One of the talented teams in Virginia perennially. Still on his feet. Number 4 to Curtis. Touchdown.
Wow.
And just like that, we mentioned the clock, and methodically, Oscar Smith at the 7:58 mark is scored.
And we saw, Greg, as you mentioned, just kind of that methodical, slow movement, slow, constant, steady progression, matriculating the ball down the field, as they used to say, and capping it off with a great run. He kind of went for that counter, went to the outside, cut back inside, and then cut back to the outside once again to hit pay dirt. Oscar Smith strikes first in this contest.
This is number 37, Grant, for Oscar Smith. $7:58 left in the first quarter, so glad you're with us. Beautiful night, a little humid, but what do you expect in September? And the kick is up. And it's no good. No dice. That's an early break for Warwick.
Yeah.
Any little edge you can get.
Any little edge you can get, and we're especially seeing right now, Greg. We saw a little bit of it last week against Gonzaga in D.C. from Oscar Smith. We're seeing it again tonight. Just kind of the little things, whether it's a penalty or a missed point after touchdown, that can just be the difference between success and failure.
6-0. But for Oscar Smith, that's a first because they got their first points of the year.
And now it falls upon the Warwick Raiders to respond, Greg. This is what I call a Ric Flair type of situation. And what I mean by that, you and I, we watched Ric Flair when we were kids, Nature Boy, and he used to say, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And this is a to be the man, you got to beat the man kind of situation right now for the Warwick Raiders.
This is a signature moment for Warwick. They want to get to that next step. You know, we saw Woodside for years with Danny Dodson get to the regionals, but they had never evolved in the state. Warwick made the state a few years ago, but they never quite got over the hump.
Yeah.
And now, of course, Corey Hairston is at Grafton now. He fooled everybody.
Yes.
He thought he retired for good.
The old okie doke, as they say.
He just went right down the street.
It was one of those James Brown situations. You remember they used to put the cape on James Brown and carried him off the stage, then he'd throw it off and start dancing again? That's what Coach Hairston did.
I thought you were going to say Jaws in the James Bond movies with those teeth. 6-0 Oscar Smith.
But shout out to Coach Hairston. We wish him all the success in the world at Grafton. But, yeah, he really helped change the culture here at Warwick.
Watch the big play, eliminate penalties and turnovers. All three phases have to click. Nate, a lot of things going on. 3 new coaches in Newport News. No Gloucester this year. And you have to win and pick each other up each week.
Yeah, and at the mention of that, Greg, I think, obviously, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention, the passing of Coach Riemann, Coach Tommy Riemann, and what he meant to this area, what he meant to so many young men's lives that he coached over the years, and just somebody that you can't talk about the history of high school football in this area without mentioning Tommy Riemann.
Absolutely. 6-0 in favor of Oscar Smith. It's not easy coming over here on a Friday night.
No.
I have to go to the South Side at least several times a week, and I can come and go when I want. But when you have to leave during rush hour,
yes,
it is miserable.
In a bus.
It don't matter which tunnel you're trying to take. Warwick looking like the Commanders' W there.
We'll see if Warwick can have a commanding presence on this drive, my friend.
Warwick keeping it on the ground. So Oscar Smith, they like the spread offense, four-man front defense. Strength is the line, quarterback, and receiver. The weakness, of course, is the attrition from last year. That's for Smith. For Warwick, they like the spread offense, 4-2 defense. Strength is the defense. Weakness is the depth.
Yeah.
And, of course, they've had an injury at quarterback.
Yeah, and I think, again, this is a team kind of in flux. Coach Harrison's gone. Coach Sykes is in. They're missing players from last year, such as Messiah Delhomme, who's at Maryland now. You're missing Eduardo Rios, who was a quarterback here for a few years. And so it's kind of this next phase of the Warwick Raiders, and what will this identity of this team be? And I think they're still figuring it out, Greg. They've got potential there. They just haven't realized it yet.
Oscar Smith has had some great coaches like Richard Morgan, the late Bill D., who coached at Phoebus as well, and, of course, Bill Lyons. 6:51 in the first quarter. All right, 6:51 left in the first quarter. It is 6-0 Oscar Smith at Todd Stadium in Newport News. We'll be back after these messages.
Music and fine arts provide enriching experiences. They teach students that there can be more than one solution to a problem, more than one right answer, that mistakes are learning experiences, and present an opportunity to be creative and flexible. The arts encourage persistence and dedication. They require sustained concentration, personal reflection involving critical analysis, and self-adjustment to reach desired goals. These are essential 21st century skills. Skills recognized as important to productive career and citizen success. Each student deserves and benefits from an arts-rich education.
Action here, 6:44 left in quarter number one. Warwick has to regroup, kind of like get focused here quick.
Yeah, Warwick has to kind of respond to that opening drive from the Oscar Smith Tigers. It started off where Warwick was starting to get a little bit of momentum on defense, and then we had that 43-yard touchdown run by Charles McGlaughlin that really kind of kicked things into overdrive. Warwick has to respond, Greg, and they took that time out as we went to break. It felt like there was a little bit of indecisiveness going on at the line of scrimmage, and so hopefully they got those kinks worked out and they can come out here and put their plan into action.
6-0, Warwick deep in their own territory in the yellow. Backup quarterback. Never easy this early. And that's White Epps. When you start experimenting, whether it's injuries or whatever, it's not easy.
Yeah, and the thing you have to kind of do when you have a backup quarterback in the game, Greg, is the playbook kind of shrinks. And you see what his strengths are, and you kind of play to them. Is it play action? Is it screens? Is it the option? What can we do to put our team in the best position for success in these circumstances? And so that's kind of what Warwick is trying to figure out right now. Coach Sykes trying to get these guys on the same page to win even with their starting quarterback out of the game, because as you know, Greg, it's the next man up. They have to step up.
And you always have audio with the video.
Yes. It's like peanut butter and jelly, two great tastes that go great together.
There you go. And backup quarterback again, White Epps. It's going to take a minute. Anytime you have a coaching change, there's a culture change as well. It's not easy, even though Sykes was on the staff.
Yeah.
Totally different philosophy.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Even though there are some things that carry over, it's a different regime. It's like Star Trek: The Next Generation, Greg. Yes, there's some same elements from Star Trek to The Next Generation, but Picard and Kirk, two very different kind of captains. And that's what you're looking at with Coach Sykes now taking over the reins from Coach Harrison.
Absolutely. 6-0. Oscar Smith with that four-man front defense. Warwick needs some type of opportunity early. pleasant atmosphere. We can see a full moon already. And we're still not quite into fall yet. It's still summer, so enjoy the beach and pool as much as you can. Greg Picaveras, Nate Milton, our entire crew.
Yes, everybody enjoying the waning weeks of summer, as it were, Greg. It's actually it's balmy tonight. I would use the word balmy to describe the temperature tonight.
Like Miami weather.
Yes.
Of course, Warwick's had some great coaches like Coach Madden, Lyons, Cawthorn, and of course Coach Harrison, who's now at Grafton. Smith with the ball. Stoppage and play again.
Looks like another penalty on Oscar Smith, Greg.
Absolutely. Some key college games going on. Tomorrow, Vanderbilt, Virginia Tech. Grambling is taking Ohio State, and that says a lot about Ohio State for welcoming Grambling to their school. I think it's a great opportunity for both.
Absolutely. And again,
now, it won't be close with the scoreboard.
The scoreboard won't be close, but it's good exposure for Grambling, one of the premier HBCUs in the country. So, good on Ohio State for that. And it's just great to see that kind of competition.
And, of course, UNC goes on the road to Charlotte.
Woo!
And now, remember, you got to give somebody at least a week or two.
Yes.
Let's see how he does against Charlotte.
We'll see how Coach Belichick does in his second time out. But it didn't look good in the first game, and we may already have a coaching change down in Chapel Hill. I mean, a quarterback change down in Chapel Hill.
And not a good start for Norfolk State either.
Yeah, but I do have faith in Mike Vick. I think he's brought a lot of excitement to the program. But it's you have to build, Greg. You know, you just can't change culture overnight. It's something you got to build.
It'll take some time. A drop, but then a catch. Drop by the quarterback, and a nice reception by number 16, respectfully. That was Price.
And the price was right on that one, Greg. Lonnie Andrews kind of starting to find himself in this late part of the first quarter.
And what you're seeing is Oscar Smith is letting Warwick kind of make their own mistakes, and they're taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
You can't do that against a state championship quality team.
And the thing is, Oscar Smith knows, like, they're still kind of working out some of the issues from that week 1 loss against Gonzaga. They have to kind of keep grinding, keep putting the pieces together, and limit some of these silly penalties that we've seen early on here in the game.
Oscar Smith going left to right in the white and blue uniforms. And that was number 13, Nate Milton. That was Walker.
And this is a big spot right here. You don't want to go down 2 scores to Oscar Smith right now, Greg. You want to keep some momentum. You want to keep the fans engaged in the game. You don't want the fans to be taken out of the game by Oscar Smith, so this is where you need to make a stand.
They have a very tight defense, very stingy. They're not going to make a lot of mental mistakes. Oscar Smith with the ball, incomplete. And the thing is about football, you can lay out and spread out, that you can make some mistakes and try to gain some capitalism as well. You have enough time, enough equity, because, if your opponent is not as good as you are, you can do that. But as it gets closer to the playoffs, you can't do that.
And that's the thing. I think with Oscar Smith, there is some luxury in knowing you are, on paper, the heavy favorite in this game. But I remember a story, Greg, about a rabbit that was a heavy favorite against a turtle. And spoiler alert, the rabbit lost. So Warwick has to tap into their inner tortoise and find a way to beat this hare.
You got it. Left to right. And the thing is, Smith is just making one catch after another.
Yeah.
That was Travis Johnson.
It almost feels great like they are kind of working on some things. Like they weren't happy with the way they performed in week 1, speaking of Oscar Smith. And so now they're trying to get back to basics, get back to the fundamentals, work the run to set up the pass, and just kind of, like you said, Greg, just have these long, drawn-out drives offensively.
3:12 left in the first quarter. We're at Todd Stadium in Newport News. High 80s most of the day. Very humid day in Virginia. So glad you're with us. Field looks really nice. Few years now. We'll wait till the official gives the signal. on Warwick. So Warwick's got to get their confidence up quick. You think Oscar Smith, they want to convert on 3rd and 4th downs, get those explosives. Don't wait to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th quarter. If you're Warwick, you got to pursue it all 4 quarters. Avoid these mistakes, especially where you're in the red zone. And Oscar Smith is in Warwick's red zone. Nate, we also want to give compliments to Cliff Drysdale, retiring from ESPN, 46 years as a tennis commentator.
Wow, yeah. You just got to give a shout out to Cliff on just that accomplishment and being that good, Greg, that good for that long. And it's we're starting to come to the end of a lot of eras. You mentioned Cliff. I would also mention Coach Corso that we saw leave College Game Day last week. It's like some of the broadcasters and the people that we kind of looked up to and respected, they're kind of exiting the stage. So tip of the cap to both of those men.
And we interviewed Corso 25 years ago in Norfolk. And he's 90 years old, still hanging in there.
Still hanging in there. I hope I have that much energy when I'm 90, Greg, if I make it to 90.
He should do some segments from the house.
Yes.
Like during COVID. All right, 2:44 in the first quarter. Opportunity now for Warwick, and you got to take advantage of the opportunity, but you're deep in your own territory.
Yeah. We've seen a big discrepancy in the time of possession as well, Greg. Warwick, on the one offensive drive they had, it was a quick 3 and out.
And they've already fumbled. They get it back. But that's what happens when you have a sub as a quarterback.
Yeah, and again, it's got to take time. Like, you are not just going to be able to run your A1 offense off the bat with the backup and with some of the injuries that you've had to deal with on this team. But you have to limit your mistakes. Just work with what you can do. Again, shrink that playbook down to about 5 or 6 or 7 plays that you can run really well and execute efficiently, and then build off of that.
Warwick's had some great players like Cho Slade, like Nate mentioned, Messiah DeHome, Marcus Vick in the past. But, you know, right now it's a moral little win for Warwick. It's only 6-0. It's early, but they have to be proactive on offense.
Yeah, you have to kind of put your foot on the gas pedal and force some of the action.
And Flags once again.
And again, Warwick, if you notice, Greg, if you're looking when they're setting up at the line of scrimmage, it looks like there's some indecision going on, which can be, you know, expected given that you got a backup in there getting his first real action. But they've got to do a better job at, you know, getting to the line, being proactive, as you always say, and making something happen.
Thomas Sykes, a real gentleman, class act for Warwick High School, was a great hire by Lucas and the team at Warwick. And that's the run by the backup quarterback, number 12, White Epps.
And I think the thing that I like about what Coach Sykes is doing here, Greg, is he's assembled a really diverse staff. You know, he's got some veterans in the staff that kind of been around the game for a while. He's also got some young coaches that kind of bring some fire to the table. And so, you know, I like what Coach Sykes is doing. It's just going to take time to build that culture and build on that foundation that Coach Hairston built here.
And it went by quick. It just seemed like they had graduation. Now they're already in week 2 already of the football season. Third down 11 for Warwick, going right to left in the yellow uniforms. Oscar Smith, the defending state champion. Nice gap right there for Warwick. They'll get the first down and then some. Oh, the referee even got down. One of the officials. You got to watch those hits out of bounds.
You got to watch it, Greg, but that's what I'm talking about. If you're not familiar with the entire playbook, stick to what you know. Just a really simple QB option call right there. He had the option to pass, or he had the option to tuck it and run. Decided to keep it himself and just picked up some positive yardage. Finally we get a spark from this Warwick offense.
Across the 50. They got to use their line as a strength. That is one of their strengths for 2025. Obviously, both teams made the postseason last year. Smith lost to Gonzaga last week 17-0. And Warwick lost to Mallard Creek 3-0. Here it's 6-0 right now in favor of Oscar Smith with less than 30 seconds left in the first quarter. Time waits for nobody.
And you got to give credit to this Warwick defense, Greg. We saw it in the week 1 loss, and we're seeing it again tonight. They do enough to keep you in the game, to give you a shot. And at the end of the day, that's all you want is a shot to be competitive, and the defense has afforded the offense that.
And Warwick already knows Oscar Smith and Phoebus are the powers. They're trying to take advantage of the early on season. And nice run there by the Raiders. Right near the 30. That's number 2. And that's Meredith.
Meredith looking like Dandy Don on that one, Greg, just picking up some positive yardage. Great job by Warwick to end the first quarter.
With the score, Oscar Smith 6, Warwick nothing. Stay tuned for the second quarter.
Music and fine arts provide enriching experiences. They teach students that there can be more than one solution to a problem, more than one right answer, that mistakes are learning experiences, and present an opportunity to be creative and flexible. The arts encourage persistence and dedication. They require sustained concentration, personal reflection involving critical analysis, and self-adjustment to reach desired goals. These are essential 21st century skills. Skills recognized as important to productive career and citizen success. Each student deserves and benefits from an arts-rich education.
The Warwick Raiders, 0. Hey, do want to remind everybody, regardless of which side of the stands you're on, if you look to your right, you'll see the concession stand.
And welcome back to the second quarter. A toss-up right now, Nate Milton. 6-0 Oscar Smith. Anybody's ball game.
Anybody's ball game. It is out there for the taking. And Warwick, after being sluggish on that first drive, went a 3-and-out, and having some problems, they fumbled on this drive, but they've gotten it together, and they're starting to put together a really competent and potent offensive drive. They just got to finish the deal now.
Warwick one left to right, their best drive of the first half. And stingy defense by Smith. Oscar Smith, we call him Smith. Right there in the Great Bridge section of Chesapeake. I know that area very well. Close-knit community. They love their high school sports. And, of course, Oscar Smith has had national TV games before on the ESPN family of networks, before a lot of colleges did. Philip Sims went to Virginia. Of course, we mentioned right now a very solid quarterback in Ethan Vasco, who plays for Liberty. Nate mentioned Joshua Sweat, Andrew Brown, Kenny Easley, who played for the Seahawks. So many great players have played for Oscar Smith. Right now, they're just trying to keep on keeping on.
Yeah, and you mentioned all those players, Greg, and the tradition and the multiple state championships that this program has won. And right now it feels like they're a team kind of in search. Like, are we the same team as last year, or are we trying to restart this thing? And so they've got to get back to their identity, get back to playing Oscar Smith football, because thus far in a game and a quarter, Greg, this season, they haven't looked like themselves.
And they've won multiple state championships under multiple different coaches, too, as well. And, of course, Oscar Smith has got Indian River, Kings Fork, Hickory, Deep Creek, and Grassfield coming up. Warwick has got Bethel, Heritage, Phoebus, Menchville, and Woodside coming up. I mean, we're already 20% done in the season after this already. They're not giving out wins either.
No. So Warwick is going to have to take it. Warwick is going to have to take these wins where they can, and this is a game, again, a measuring stick game, a prove-it-to-me kind of game where they can make something happen. If they can come in here and upset the defending state champion, the Oscar Smith Tigers, that would give them so much confidence, doing it with a backup quarterback, doing it with all these players that are banged up, Greg. But they've got to start now. They've got to start on this drive by capitalizing on the opportunity in front of them.
We'll give you some scores in the second half of area Hampton Roads teams. Right now, the penalties have dominated this game.
I kind of feel like I jinxed them, Greg. Like I talked them up, told them this was the time for the opportunity, and then they get a penalty.
So the coaches this year, Thomas Sykes at Warwick, Raymond Malone at Denby, Shamari Wright at Heritage, Rodney Taylor at Menchville, Alonzo Coley at Woodside. Remember, there's no Gloucester in the Peninsula District. Woodrow Wilson at Hampton, David Porter at Bethel, Jeremy Blunt at Phoebus, and Coach James at Kickingham. 9 schools as opposed to 10.
Yeah, it's a new era, both in the fact that we're at 9 schools, Greg, and also just the names of the coaches there. And you know, we're in an era post Danny Dodson, post Corey Hairston, post Tommy Riemann, RIP to one of the greats in the area. And so it's like we've got this new era of coaches that are all trying to stamp their own identity on these programs. And it will be interesting to see if Warwick is still the cream of the crop in Newport News, Greg, or will a Menchville hop up? Will a Heritage hop up and say, hey, we're the only school around here that's won a state championship. We're going to get that tradition back.
6-0 Oscar Smith, second quarter, 10 left to intermission. Greg Bicavera, Nate Milton, glad you're with us. Warwick in the yellow, Oscar Smith in the white and blue. Warwick only had a couple miles to get here. Oscar Smith had to deal with rush hour traffic coming from Chesapeake. Pretty much on a yellow school bus. Not exactly a limousine.
No, again, they're not living that Ric Flair lifestyle, the jet flying, wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing, limousine riding lifestyle. They're coming across that tunnel in rush hour traffic. And so, again, you can see that focus starts to wane a little bit, but they've got to lock in, Greg. They've got to lock in at the task at hand, which is getting your first victory of the season. And you're playing a game-tough Warwick Raiders team that is also winless, but they want to change that.
And Rivers goes into the end zone for a touchback. And that play, please.
6-zip. You can tell Oscar Smith, is trying to find themselves.
Yeah.
Both teams are like that show In Search Of. Trying to find the offense, defense, special teams.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to the Director of Athletics for the Newport News Schools, Lee Martin.
Absolutely. Big salute to Lee Martin for all their hard work. But you saw right there, Greg, on that last play, I don't mind that punt by Coach Sykes. He's trying to play the field position game. The problem was it just rolled into the end zone. If they could have pinned him down within the 10, then you're playing a field position game.
And really, that's been the story of the first half is the field position and the penalties. Neither team can really get that edge going with the field position. Screen pass caught by number 2 for Smith, and that's Bradley.
And that's something I did notice, Greg. I went back and watched some of the Oscar Smith-Gonzaga game. They really like those screen plays. They like to do the wide receiver screens. They also like to do running back screens. It didn't lead to any points in the game against Gonzaga, but we'll see if they have more success with that screen game here tonight against Warwick.
8:35 left till halftime. 6-0. Smith going right to left. two schools are looking for a win this week.
Yes. Something's got to give, Greg. Something has got to give. And again, you know, I mentioned that we'll see. Is Heritage going to be the Newport News school that wants to take that step up? Is Denby or Minchfield going to be that team? And we'll be doing that Denby-Minchfield game coming up here, Greg, in a few weeks. I'm excited for it. A Saturday game, Denby's homecoming. It's going to be a good one. But we'll see who's going to step up and take that next step.
Talk about our next game.
Absolutely. We're talking about the men from the Ville, the Minchfield Monarchs, and the Denby Patriots. You talk about rivalries, folks. We got rivalries for you. A Saturday game, homecoming game for the Monarchs. It's going to be October 11th at noon. We'll give you more details as it comes to fruition, but this is hot off the presses. We have got that locked in, our next game. Minchfield, Denby, one of the biggest rivalries in the city. October 11th at noon here on NNPS Telecom on YouTube.
Absolutely. 6-0.
I'm excited for it, Greg. A homecoming game on a Saturday.
Why not? You got 5 schools. You have to do it.
Yes, we got to do it. We got to do it.
We see our good friend Regina back from Midwest.
Always
Regina's not afraid to drive anywhere.
I'm telling you.
Wonder where she learned that from.
Must run in the family. That's all we'll say. That's all we'll say.
And the thing is, Warwick wants to be proactive on defense as well. If you're at Warwick, you're like, look, we got them to 6-0. Let's take advantage of this right now. We have an opportunity, and all you need to do, just like I said before, if you don't have an opportunity, create an opportunity.
Yeah. Somebody's got to make a play. Somebody's got to make a play that changes the momentum and the trajectory of this football game, folks. We'll see who will step up and meet the moment for the Warwick Raiders.
Special shout out to Kim as well, listening to Newport News. Say hello to Kim.
What's going on, Kim? Thank you so much for checking us out. NNPS Telecom bringing you the best prep football action in the area. Shout out to our great staff, students, and adult crew here.
Incomplete. Nate, you've always said it, when it's in your hands, you got to make that catch.
When it's in your hands, you got to make that catch, whether you're a high school student or whether you're C.D. Lamb. C.D. Lamb, you got to catch the ball, brother.
Dallas should have won that game last night.
I know we got Mike Knox, a good friend, watching the game tonight on NNPS Telecom. And I know, as a Cowboys fan, that hurt his heart. That hurt his soul, seeing those 2 drop passes by C.D. Lamb.
6-0. 7:31 left till halftime. You can see Oscar Smith is really just trying to test the patience of Warwick on the road. Never easy winning on the road. In those sharp white and blue uniforms. And what happens is generational talent. Oscar Smith has learned from the previous classes. When you have elite players like Vasco and Sims and Sweat and Brown, and easily it rubs off on these younger players.
Yeah, you know, and those players, they come back, they give back to the program, they pour into the program for this next generation. Now Warwick has started to build a legacy, build a tradition, but it's just a matter of taking it to that next level and coming home with the championship. That's the next step they got to take.
But they're going to have to start all over with a new coach. And the season is new for everybody. Always fun, brand new football season, high school, college, and the NFL. Incomplete. Speaking of which, the Lions take on the Packers, Ravens and the Bills, Vikings, Bears, and the Steelers and the Jets.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers taking on his old team.
Aaron Rodgers taking on his former team. This is going to be interesting to see how this works. And again, for those that are new to this area, Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the best coaches in football today, never had a losing season, is from this area. And we'll see if he can wring the last bit of greatness out of Aaron Rodgers, who is a Hall of Famer, Greg, but we haven't seen Hall of Fame level Aaron Rodgers for a few seasons now.
He's getting a little bit. Older as the year go on, that's for sure.
I was like, aren't we all, my friend?
He feels like we all do. All this yellow out here. Got the yellow in the logo, yellow all over the field, yellow uniforms. Yellow's a great color.
Yellow could be the color for this game, Greg, because, you know, red means stop, green means go, yellow means slow down. Feels like both of these teams have been favoring a more methodical style of offense tonight.
Warwick in cautionary mode right now. Late in the second quarter, 6:32 till halftime. Still early on, score is only 6-0. We'll see what the other Newport News teams do this week.
If you love defense, then have we got a game for you. This has been a defensive struggle, but for both teams, neither offense has really been able to get on track. You know, Oscar Smith had that long touchdown run, but other than that, we really haven't seen the Tigers be explosive tonight, Greg.
All right, it is 3rd and 8 from the 39. We'll see what Warwick can do left to right with their backup quarterback. Not much there. Again, shout out to the quarterback. White Epps, never easy coming in. But the good thing is it's early, no matter who the quarterback is. It's only game number 2.
Yeah, and he's going to grow into the position, and, you know, it's just a matter of the teammates kind of have to rally around him. Like, you know, your guy is in here. He's, you know, been thrust into this role. We got to step up. We got to support our guy. You know, he is our leader. He's got to be next man up mentality. That's what the Raiders have got to do right now and buy into this. Buy into what Coach Sykes is trying to preach to these young men and come out here and execute the game plan.
.534 and some change left. Still, just one score. Nate, go and give us a scoring recap.
Yes, a very easy scoring recap, Greg Bigaveris. Right now, the only score on the board was a big 43-yard rush by Charles McGloin. The kids call him Charles McGone because when he gets a step, he is gone, folks. And he had a 43-yard touchdown run. They missed the extra point, and that brings us to where we are right now, Greg. 6-0, the Oscar Smith Tigers on top of the Warwick Raiders.
Absolutely. 5:34 left. Smith going right to left on the TV dial. They got some daylight. Incomplete. It just shows you the attrition from year to year.
Yeah, and what I liked on that play, Greg, was good pursuit by the Warwick Raiders. Get some pressure on Lonnie. Don't let Lonnie get comfortable in the pocket, because if Lonnie gets comfortable in the pocket, he can start to do damage, Greg. They made him get out on the run, and then the defensive backfield did a good job right there, making sure nobody could get open. Great job defensively by Warwick, Greg. That's what's keeping them in this game tonight.
And we've seen it. Warwick lost last week 3-0. And right now it's only 6-0. And that's number 4, respectfully, for Smith. That's Curtis.
Defense really keeping them in these games. It almost reminds me, remember when the Ravens went to the Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer? Sometimes you don't need great quarterback
And Brian
play.
Billick was the offensive genius, yet
Yes.
they were winning games like this.
Yes, like sometimes you don't need great quarterback play. You just need enough. You just need enough plays to get into the end zone.
All right, let's give a shout out to our good friend Justin Lee. WNIS sports show every Friday from 6 to 7, 790. Morning producer and WTAR, proud father as well. Say hello to Jay Lee.
Absolutely. What's going on, Jay Lee? Always appreciative of the work that you do and what you bring to the game, what you bring to this area.
He played baseball for Norfolk State.
Yep. And again, just there's so much tradition and history and connectivity here in the Hampton Roads area, and it extends to broadcasters, coaches, fans. And so, yeah, shout out to Jay Lee for the great work that he does.
Yep, he's been on Sports Scene and Sports Highlights. And, of course, brand new father. Him and his beautiful girlfriend have a wonderful baby girl, doing a great job at WNIS and WTAR.
Hopefully he's finding ways to get some sleep, because that is not easy.
And he is Mr. Chesapeake. He lives deep. I've been to his house deep in Chesapeake. Some of the best restaurants are in Chesapeake, folks. 5:08 left. Still, Smith and Warwick both struggling for any points early on. Almost like a soccer game already.
Is this football or football?
Maybe so. Nice run. Some daylight. Lonnie Andrews, this is called L.A., Los Angeles.
Yes, Lonnie Andrews basically pulled a Thanos from the Avengers. The offense didn't work, and he's like, fine, I'll do it myself. Give me that infinity gauntlet and let me run with it for a little bit. But that's what I wanted to see. I want to see more proactivity, Greg. Be more aggressive on offense. Like, take some chances. You've seen Warwick's offense isn't really doing a lot to hurt you. So take some chances, take some risks if you're Oscar Smith, and try to get some more explosive plays on the board.
We listen to Jay Lee every Friday night from 6 to 7 p.m. on WNIS.
Yes. If you're in rush hour traffic, that is a great way to accompany you through the highways and byways as you make your way home.
He came
Again,
all the way from
shout out to
Chesapeake
Jay
to come on
Lee.
our show a few years ago. Former Norfolk State baseball player. In fact, we've got CNU focused on sports highlights this month. And Mr. Price and I have run into the guests at sporting goods stores and the grocery store.
Well, when you're a celebrity like Ray Price, it happens. It happens, Greg. The man can't go to the grocery store in peace.
Yeah, it's so funny. Ray goes, I don't like doing interviews, but I got to do it, I'll do it. All right, we're having a lot of fun up here. But Nate and I don't really get rolling to the fourth quarter.
We're just getting warmed up, much like these two offenses. We're just getting warmed up, Greg.
Is that a concern more for Oscar Smith or Warwick, this slow start? Because you're a defending state champion. You want to have some more juice. I just think it's early. I think both teams will be okay.
Yeah, both teams can be okay, Greg, but I think it's more of a concern for Oscar Smith. Because for Warwick, yes, they're struggling, but they have a backup quarterback in. For Oscar Smith, this is the team you're trying to run it back with for the championship, and you're struggling right now in 2 consecutive games offensively. So if I'm Oscar Smith, that concerns me.
And like we said early on, Gonzaga beat Oscar Smith 17-0. They've had some great teams. They won a state championship by 1 point last year.
Yeah, one of the most thrilling state championship games ever, Greg. And again, it just goes to show you, anything can happen if you give yourself the opportunity for it to happen. You got to be in it to win it, as they say. And so if you were the Warwick Raiders tonight, you just have to give yourself an opportunity. It's the 10-year anniversary of Hamilton, Greg Vicaveras. They need to be in the room where it happens if you're the Warwick Raiders.
No team can get any momentum so far. Now, you think the narrative right now is going to be a low-scoring game, but it could change. There's 4 quarters.
Yeah, there are 4 quarters. It could change. And, again, I think the onus is on Smith. They have to step up. They are the defending state champions. They're playing with their full complement of offensive players. They got to come out and make something happen, Greg.
And week 1 was not pretty for the Newport U schools. Manor beat Denby. Manor's an upstart program. In fact, Tommy Riemann coached Manor.
Yep.
22-8. Lake Taylor beat Heritage 59-0. Woo. Western Branch beat Menchville 35-7. And, of course, Mallard Creek beat Warwick 3-0. So not many points.
No, not many points and not any victories. And so hopefully this is a change for the Newport News schools this week. We can turn the page, leave that in the past, and at least 1 or 2 of them can pick up some dubs this week.
And we've seen it already. The defense has played much better than the offense. And nice crowd by Oscar Smith. They have traveled from Chesapeake. And, folks, if you've lived in Hampton Roads like we have, it's not easy crossing any tunnel during rush hour traffic. Flags all over the place.
Wow.
.437 left in quarter number 2. It is 6-0 still. And Nate, sometimes the long school day, first couple weeks of school, can put you really in a funk.
Yeah, and this was a short week, Greg, because we had the holiday on Monday, and so it's just kind of like getting back into the swing of things, getting back into the groove, getting back into those old habits. And so we're seeing that from both of these teams early on. But back to the point you mentioned about the crowd. Like, yeah, you got to tip your cap to the Oscar Smith faithful for making that trek through the tunnel to get here tonight to support their team. They showed up and they showed out tonight. And we'll see. Right now, it feels like they've negated the home field advantage that you would think Warwick would have.
And I want to see the killer instinct by both schools. I mean, look at the crowd that Oscar Smith has here on the road. Excellent crowd.
Coming through that tunnel, and again, for folks that don't live here, coming through that tunnel on a Friday, there are not many things you could pay me less to do than coming through that tunnel on a Greg, if you lived on the other side of the water and you said, hey, Nate, my friend of many years, come hang out with me, I said, Greg, you meet me on the other side of the tunnel, because going through that tunnel anytime, particularly during rush hour, is a pain in the neck. But these Oscar Smith fans, they did that. They showed up for their team.
They really did. They all had to work, too. We could swim faster than most people could drive getting from the peninsula to the south side. And they talk about how the tunnel is going to evolve. And right now, you try to cross the tunnel, it's nothing but Jersey walls and barrels all over the interstate.
Yes. It's like Donkey Kong. Like, you remember
Yeah.
Donkey Kong? Used to throw the barrels at Mario.
And right now, Warwick's defense is hanging tough with Smith's offense. Control the controllables out here.
Yes.
Keep an eye on the secondary, the defense, because a lot of times the line can get fatigued early.
The line can get fatigued early, and right now I'm seeing a battle in the trenches between the Warwick defensive line and the Oscar Smith offensive line, and it's pretty much been a standstill right now. Both teams kind of squaring off against each other. Wow.
Big play, the explosive. That's the explosive that Smith is known for right there. Nice catch by the elusive number 6, McGlown.
McGlown showing you he can do it by land or by air. Had the big 43-yard touchdown run in the first quarter, Greg, and then right there out of the backfield, great job coming through with the pass. And right now what you're seeing, Greg, Warwick has done a good job containing Oscar Smith all game. But Oscar Smith, if you got the heart of a champion, you know all it takes is one play to flip the momentum.
There's a deep pass. It is incomplete, right in the hands of the intended receiver. But incomplete. You got to make those catches. Intended for Johnson.
Now we're seeing some life from the Oscar Smith offense. Now we're seeing what Greg I was talking about, being aggressive, taking some risks, being proactive, going downfield vertically. We're starting to see that now from the Oscar Smith Tigers.
Oscar Smith has had great success. You see the crowd right there, and 8, 11, 20, 24, of course. Great seasons, tenured coaches. Richard Morgan helped put this team on the map. So did Bill Lyons, the former Warwick coach who also coached at Oscar Smith several decades ago. And, of course, the late Bill D., who coached at Southampton, Phoebus, and Oscar Smith. Nice catch. Number 16, Nate, that was Price. And what you're seeing is Oscar Smith is getting their confidence, and once the confidence goes, everything goes in place.
Yeah, and this is what I've been wanting to see from Oscar Smith all night long. You have the better team on paper. You are the defending state champions. Why are you playing so small? Go out there and play big. Go out there, be aggressive. Go out there and try to take some chances, take some risks. Fortune favors the bold, and we're seeing a very bold offensive strategy by Oscar Smith right now.
A perennial state championship caliber team. They even traveled their musicians here as well.
You got to bring the band with you, Greg. Every hero needs a theme song.
Absolutely. Or a score for a movie as well. Or a commercial. 6-0. Warwick doesn't want to get sloppy here late in the second quarter.
Something we also need to take note of, Greg, not only the offensive passion that we're seeing now from Oscar Smith, but look at that clock. That clock is ticking down. We're seeing the clock management, the time management, that ball control just eating up the time. Because if they score here, Warwick's not going to have a lot of time left on the clock to try to respond.
You know, back when Coach Smith was coaching Hampton, you better get them early because by the midseason, late season, they'll be ahead of everybody else. That's kind of like the feeling you're getting from Smith right now. And that's number 3, the elusive Lonnie Andrews. So many great players in tradition at Oscar Smith.
I like that play right there by Lonnie. My only note, young man, would be don't dive head first. That is not good for the longevity of your career. But Lonnie Andrews, tough kid, smart kid, starting to finally put it together on this drive.
Absolutely. 3 minutes left. Greg Bicoveris, Nate Milton, glad you're with us on YouTube. Flags down. And that's number 4, Curtis. For Smith, you definitely want to get in the end zone.
Yeah, you don't want to settle for field goals. You want to get touchdowns. You want to go in there, really put the pressure and put the onus on the Warwick Raiders by going in and punching it into the end zone. You don't want to stand outside the bank all day, Greg. You got to cash the check eventually.
Or direct deposit or something.
At least direct deposit.
Both teams
Cash
are 0-1. Both teams are 0-1 in 2025. Both teams made the postseason a year ago. Warwick's former coach is now at Grafton in Yorktown. That surprised everybody.
Yes.
But he's still young enough, why not?
Yeah, and again,
sometimes a new culture, new attitude, new desire, new scenery is good.
Sometimes you need to change your pace, and also, you know, it allows somebody like Coach Sykes to kind of step up and see what he can do as a head coach. So we wish Coach Hairston the best, and I'm excited to see what Coach Sykes can do with this Warwick
That
team.
22 year took a lot out of Coach from Warwick because they got to the state and quite didn't have the gas to get over the hump.
Just kind of that emotional toll, that emotional beating and battering that comes from a run like that and not being able to finish the deal.
2:40 left. Smith is trying to chew up the clock. 2nd and 15 at the Warwick 20 in the red zone. We like to call it the catch-up red zone. Beautiful field here at Todd Stadium. Also a multi-purpose facility for track as well and other sports. And you don't want to start doing acrobatic plays here. You don't want to experiment too much in the red zone. You just want to punch it in.
Yeah, you just want to punch it in. You want to be decisive and act out what you got going on. You mentioned this is the catch-up red zone, Greg. Warwick is out here not to steal a line from Kendrick Lamar, and I'm not going to do it because it's going to blow out Brandon Hedgepest headsets, but Warwick out here looking like some mustard, Greg Bicoveris, in the goal, and it's what they got to do, folks. This is a crucial moment in time for the Warwick Raiders, Greg. If they can apply the pressure, if they can stop them, and if they can hold Oscar Smith to 3 points here, I think that gives them a lot of confidence as we head towards halftime.
Absolutely. Smith with the ball. They lofted in the air. It's caught. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown, Tigers. Gibson connects. And that's what you see from good teams. They methodically chew up the clock. They exploit the weakness of defense, and they start getting points.
That was a near perfect drive by the Oscar Smith Tigers, Greg. Chewed up all that time. Only 1 minute and 29 seconds left on the clock. And again, Lonnie Andrews doing a great job finding his man in the flats and just was able to get it into the end zone. Andrews to Gibson, and the Warwick Raiders are now down behind the 8 ball, my friend.
You don't have to do it in 1 or 2 plays or 1 or 2 series, but the key thing is you just want to be proactive and keep moving forward. You see the cheerleaders right there. All right, let's take a break with the score. Late in the second quarter, 1:29 left. It's Oscar Smith from the city of Chesapeake, 12, Warwick from Newport News, 0. Stay tuned.
Today's game, by the way, live on YouTube TV. Check it out.
All right, back to live action. Smith going for 2. Nope, no dice. The one good thing about extra point conversions or 2, it doesn't chew up any clock.
No, it doesn't chew up any clock. And again, this was an opportunity for Oscar Smith to try something, put a little wrinkle in the game, see if they can get that 2-point conversion, but they failed on it. So now the score is 12-0. The visiting Tigers on top of the Raiders, Greg.
How was your summer highlight?
Oh, my summer highlight was great, my friend. Of course, everybody that follows me on social media knows about the Nefarious Media Network, my podcast network that myself and my friends have launched back in January. Just enjoying producing things, Greg, talking about the world as we see it. Oh, what you know it, Greg? There goes the logo right there on the screen. Yes, Nefarious Media Network. Search it on all podcast platforms, man. And we're trying to do some good work this year. What about you, Greg? What is your summer highlight, my friend?
My highlight was seeing my mom's sister in Greece, going to Greece. That was not easy. Like Regina making those big trips. But no, we flew from Norfolk to D.C., D.C. to Athens. On the way back, Athens to Jersey, Jersey to Norfolk.
Athens to Jersey has to be one of the most random
And of course, my travel agent puts me in Newark, the most nefarious airport there is in the country. Of course, when you're in Newark, 7-hour delay.
Yes, always. And what better place to spend 7 hours than Newark, New Jersey?
Had a lot of chance to get on YouTube.
Yes. Speaking of YouTube, how is the YouTube channel going, my friend?
It's going very good. All kinds of content on there at Greg Bick. Thank you for saying it, Nate Milton. And, of course, don't forget NNPS Telecom on YouTube as well for our broadcasting of our game tonight. But, no, Greece is great. The food was good. The islands were good. But it's really sad to see all the graffiti in Athens. The worst thing you want to see in a European city is graffiti because it really just demoralizes the whole country. Please, no graffiti, folks.
Please, no graffiti. That should be the word of the day. No graffiti, especially if you are the Oscar Smith Tigers. No graffiti.
And the graffiti is on the scoreboard. It's 12-0 right now.
Okay. That's where I was going, Greg. They've tagged the scoreboard with 12 points so far.
You know, Athens really needs to do something about it. I really wish they would.
Yeah.
The islands are beautiful. They don't mess with that. They don't mess with the Acropolis. But
yes,
really,
the Parthenon.
They don't mess with the Acropolis at all. Nope.
I could see you on the Greek beaches, Greg. I could see you out there, man.
It was nice.
Looking like Hercules.
I still love my Virginia Beach in Nag's Head. It's right now back to the score, 12-0. And what you don't want to see if you're Oscar Smith is make a turnover, a penalty to give Warwick some type of momentum or edge late. There's no need to. You haven't scored much already. run the clock out.
Correct. And you've almost got Warwick in a situation where if you get another score or a positive play defensively, I feel like doubt starts to creep into the mind of the Raiders. So you don't want to do anything that would give them a reason to believe in themselves. You don't want to give them that hope. You want to kind of snuff that out if you are the Oscar Smith Tigers.
Incomplete. And you can tell there's some fatigue early on as well. These kids are tired. 1:11 left in quarter number 2. It's 12-0 Oscar Smith. And halftime gives you a chance to regroup and reset.
Yeah. A good chance to kind of take stock of what's going on, Greg. Kind of take stock of what's happened in the first half. Keep the things that worked and get rid of the things that didn't, and see if you can improve upon them.
Of course, Virginia's looking to go 2-0. They take on NC State tomorrow on the road.
That'll be a fun game. That'll be a fun game. I'm excited to see that one. NC State with Hollywood Smothers, one of the most exciting running backs in the country.
And Oscar Smith has still got time. 1:01 left till halftime. I want to say hello to our good friend Wube Gabray, listening, works for the city of Hampton, does a great job with them in Norfolk State. Thank you, Wube.
Absolutely.
Of course, he's from the Baltimore area, not the DMV.
Yes, they'd be quick to say that. Not the DMV.
Of course, in and out of the hands of Oscar Smith. Right now it's wide open. Still anybody's ball game, but you have to have that killer instinct. All we've seen tonight is mistakes and penalties and trepidation, a lot of trepidation by both offenses.
Yeah, you've seen two teams that are kind of lacking confidence right now. And it's crazy to say that about a team like Oscar Smith that just won a state championship to lack that confidence. And so, we're seeing the process of things work out for the Tigers. Lonnie Andrews finally starting to get something going, finally got some points on the board tonight. Can this be the start? Can tonight's game be the start of a turnaround for Oscar Smith? And conversely, for the Warwick Raiders, you got to all hands on deck, next man up. You got to come together as a team and see if you can fight your way out of this slump.
All right, 54 seconds till intermission. They got those cooling, chilled fans on the Oscar Smith side. I wish I had one of those for my house.
I always
my
wanted
AC
to get
is
one
cold,
of those.
though.
Yeah, I always wanted one of those to blow the little mist of water. Oh!
And that's what we're talking about, the trepidation from both teams. Like Nate said, just because you won a state championship, it's still starting all over, rebuilding, resetting. Heck, people forgot what they had for lunch. How are they going to remember last year?
Absolutely, but right there, the defense had the quarterback for lunch, and it was a tasty, tasty meal. But this defense really keeping Warwick in the game, Greg. The offense just has to complement them. The offense has to do something to help the defense out here tonight.
Final few seconds. 1 hour and 13 minutes of elapsed time. Late in the second quarter, both teams definitely need a full reset in the locker room. Nice crowd on hand tonight. Enjoying this prep football game on YouTube. There's the bomb. Ten seconds left. Like we said, just between these schools, Hampton, Bethel, Phoebus, Oscar Smith, so many state championships by all these teams. Hard to believe it's been, now this is the fourth year without Mike Smith, who retired after the 21 season. Of course, all the best health to Coach Kozlowski, the former Bethel coach. We wish him all the best. He won 3 state championships with the Bruins. Nate, he had one of the most best defensive players ever in John Britt. Britt was like Mike Singletary. He was everywhere.
And again, just talk about talking about Coach Kaz, talking about Bill Deeg, talking about Coach Lyons, talking about Coach Quillen, just Coach Riemann, just some of the big names, Coach Madden, some of the big names in the history of this area. Danny Dodson, for so many years, held it down at Woodside, man. It's just the tradition of athletics here in this area is second to none in my opinion.
There's a deep pass. Just like that. 6 points for Smith.
Wow.
18 unanswered points. And they're playing well in spurts, and they're looking forward to buttoning up in the second half. They're starting to come alive from Chesapeake.
Wow.
Right near the end of the first half as well. Warwick did not want that to happen.
No, and there was some confusion on the Warwick sideline whether or not a timeout had been called, and you just saw Oscar Smith, the veteran team, the savvy team, took advantage of that. In the words of Lee Corso, Greg, they thought they took a timeout, and Oscar Smith said, "Not so fast, my friends. We're going to throw it over the top and hit you with the touchdown." And we are seeing right now Oscar Smith starting to wake up from this sleepwalking, day-walking state that they've been in the last 2 weeks.
And that pass is dropped. Still 18 zip.
Wow.
The extra points and 2-point conversions haven't gone too well.
No, and these are the mistakes you maybe can get away with against the Warwick, Greg. These are not the mistakes you can get away with when you're gunning for another state championship. They've got to clean that up.
Oscar Smith works on stuff they need to improve on, even though, they're not dominating, but they're still shutting out a solid Warwick team. And Warwick, of course, needs to get the confidence of getting some points on the scoreboard.
Yeah, we know what Warwick's defense is about. We know this defense is double tough. They'll play you all day long, but the offense has to help out. You have to have some balance on your team, and right now we're not seeing that from the offense. So that's what Coach Sykes has got to focus on at halftime. Like, hey, man, we got to get back to doing something right offensively. We got to start putting some points on the board. We're not going to get 18 points on one drive, but let's start with getting 6 on this first drive.
Oscar Smith has that big S logo on their blue helmet, white shirt, blue pants, Warwick in the all gold uniforms, and of course the burgundy stripes, the numbers, and W logo, just like the Commanders. I guess, wonder where they got that idea from.
Well, they could use Jaden Daniels right about now, Greg.
We'll see what he does against the Giants this weekend. One more play. If you're at Warwick, what do you talk about at halftime?
Hey, man, we just need to put one drive together. One drive together. It starts with one drive. You're not going to win a marathon, Greg, just getting out of bed if you haven't exercised in 20 years. You're not going to win a race if you haven't stretched, if you haven't exercised, if you haven't worked out for 5 years. But it starts with going out today, Greg, and maybe walking for an hour.
Maybe just heard from the mayor of Hampton, Jimmy Gray.
Yes.
Say hello to him.
What's up to the mayor of Hampton? Shout out to the mayor. We appreciate all of your hard work and helping our communities live up to their full potential. But again, Greg, you don't win a race if you haven't been training. So you got to take one foot in front of the other, step by step, inch by inch, claw your way back into this game. But it starts with one drive. That's what Warwick's got to focus on. One drive to get some points on the board and get this thing back into some type of way.
All right, 24 minutes to go. We're at halftime with the score. Oscar Smith from the city of Chesapeake, 18. Warwick at their home field at Todd Stadium, nothing. Enjoy the halftime festivities.
you decide.
Got it.
Watch what's going on. And then look at this. Is he talking to you?
And welcome back to the third quarter. Greg Picavera, Nate Milton, glad you're with us. NNPS Telecom on YouTube to do a reset 18-0 in favor of Oscar Smith. And you remember the old show I Love Lucy when Ricky told Lucy got a lot of explaining to do. So basically, Warwick's got some explaining to do.
Yes, Warwick has some explaining to do, and this is not an episode of I Love Lucy. This isn't an episode of Friends. This isn't even an episode of Martin. This is an episode of Who's the Boss. I know you remember Who's the Boss. And so right now, Warwick is trying to establish an identity. Warwick is trying to figure out who's the boss. They got a kid who's playing tough here at quarterback. He is the backup, though, and so it's a learning process. It's an adjustment period, and Oscar Smith has taken advantage of it. And so right now, what I want to see from Warwick, Greg, is to come out, show some pride, show some passion, show some power, and go out there and at least try to get something positive happening on the offensive side of the football.
And protect your house. You only had to have a 1 or 2 mile ride from Warwick High School. Oscar Smith drove 50-plus miles, round trip easily. 60, 70, just to get here on a Friday. But right now it's all Smith, as Oscar Smith in the white and blue on the road will be kicking off. Glad you're with us. 18-0 in favor of Smith, the defending state champions. They're Division 6, Warwick is Division 5. Nate, let's do a second half regroup. What does Smith need to do?
What Oscar Smith needs to do is work on that consistency. The last 2 drives of the first half, we saw Andrews and that Oscar Smith offense start to put some things together. They need to keep going with that. They need to keep putting the pedal to the metal, limit their turnovers, limit their mistakes, limit the penalties, and come out here and establish themselves as the champions that they are. For Warwick, again, that defense has got to keep being aggressive, got to keep attacking, and then that offense just chip in. Just put something on it. If you are the Warwick Raiders, you don't have to pay the whole bill offense. Just put something on it.
And take advantage of the time. You don't want the clock to just continuously chew, and that's what happened in the first half, and Warwick didn't have as many touches on the football.
And again, that clock management style, that ball-dominant offense of Oscar Smith did so much to turn the tables in the first half against the Warwick Raiders. So if you're Warwick, you want to come out here defensively and force Oscar Smith into some 3-and-outs, force Oscar Smith into some quick possessions, because then that gives you more time with the ball on offense.
Look, we saw Miami beat Notre Dame. We saw Florida State whip Alabama. Boy, they're already waiting for that coach to go.
Yes, Caden DeVoe is on the hot seat already.
And number 12, the sub-quarterback for the night for Warwick, White Epps. These 12-minute quarters go by quick. Both teams are 0-1. Smith trying to go to 2-0 before they take on the heart of their schedule with Indian River, Kings Fork, and Hickory coming up. The Raiders got Bethel, always tough, Heritage, Phoebus, Menchville, and Woodside. Third quarter, 10:30 left in this quarter. Warwick has to be very proactive, keep the foot on the gas pedal. And you figure Oscar Smith, very stingy, conservative defense. They got such explosive speed on both sides of the ball, and we see that in high school football all the time, where there is fatigue when you have so many players going both ways.
And it's still early in the season. You're still kind of getting your game legs under you because you had that practice in the offseason. You went through the two-a-days. You went through training camp. But there's a difference between the training, Greg, and actually being out there on the field. It takes a different type of conditioning, different type of shape to be out there for all 48 minutes. And so we're seeing right now these guys starting to get their legs underneath them.
Decent punt for Warwick, but they're going to need to get some big plays. Look, if offense and defense are not working for Warwick, then special teams has got to step it up.
Well, we saw that the other night with South Carolina, a little bit of Beamer ball, if you will. You know, Frank Beamer, one of the hallmarks of his coaching tenure of Virginia Tech was the special teams were going to do something to change the game around. And so it's a three-phase game, offense, defense, and special teams. So often, Greg, people overlook special teams, but they can make a big difference in turning a game around.
And he didn't hesitate to say he was rooting for his son in South Carolina.
Yes.
It really wasn't that close in the second half.
I'm excited to see what Shane Beamer and the South Carolina Gamecocks can do. Lenore Sellers, their quarterback, to me is just a great athlete. He reminds me a bit of Cam Newton when Cam Newton was at Auburn.
Absolutely. Cam enjoying post-broadcasting life now.
Yes.
Post-playing career.
And enjoying those hats. I wish I could have a hat like Cam Newton, Greg.
You used to have hair like us. So much for that. I got my hair cut today, actually.
Yes.
A lot more cooler in this hot weather.
Nice cool breeze.
On this Friday night, September 5th.
Absolutely. And it's getting close to your birthday, Greg Bickerverse. You turning 29 again, my friend.
And holding.
And holding. Oh,
you and I are a month apart.
I say your birthday's a month after mine, so.
And a nice run by Smith. And they're taking advantage of Warwick's defense. And you got to watch these late hits too, Nate.
Late hits, taunting penalties. You know, you talk about a birthday. Those are birthday gifts for the other team. When you have penalties like that, Greg, you can't do that.
Your birthday is August 11th.
Yes.
And mine, of course, is 9/11.
So we're a month apart. And it just,
next Thursday, folks, don't forget.
Just even on a day filled with such, somber memories, like we can celebrate Greg Bickerverse and just kind of the life and impact that you've had in this area, my friend.
Thank you so much, Nate. It means a lot. Of course, you and I have been working together. You see the cheerleaders there for 26 years and change.
Well, where's the time gone?
We're staying young, though. Oscar Smith in control right now. We'll get to the crew list here at the top of the fourth.
We got to stay young if we want to keep up with Ray Price. Like
He walks up and down those stairs like Flash Gordon.
That's my goal. We just got to stay. We got to stay one step behind Ray Price, and we'll be all right, Greg.
Absolutely. Ray will drive somewhere at 3 in the morning.
Have camera, will travel. That is the motto. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, Greg. And speaking of staying ready, that is what the Oscar Smith offense has been for this second half. They've been ready.
And we'll just say our friend KB, yes, KB, next Thursday, celebrating yours on the 18th.
Yes.
Happy birthday to Kim on the 21st.
Absolutely. So many August and September birthdays. My sister's birthday was on the 29th.
And I'm a Virgo. What are you?
A Leo.
All right, very good.
A lion.
And this tiger for Oscar Smith, we said it earlier, they're no vegetarian tonight.
Nope.
They're definitely carnivores.
We got lions and tigers. We just need a bear to show up.
Coming up, of course, and Nate and I will be talking about some of the top players of the 80s and 90s as well in the next game. Bomb! Incomplete. We saw the chief of police out here.
Yes, we did. Always great to see, again, the law enforcement being a part of the community. It's not a one-way street with law enforcement. It's a relationship that should be and must be formed with the community. So shout out to the chief for coming out. Always good to see him at Todd Stadium.
He loves his Mountain Dew, too. We all have our drinks. Mine, I'm drinking club soda tonight.
I'm drinking water, just water, Greg. I got to stay hydrated up here on a warm night like tonight.
Absolutely. We look forward to, 3 more games?
Yep.
Thanks to our good buddy, Mr. Price, putting the schedule together.
After some intense negotiations. Again, Ray Price, he knows people. Ray Price knows people out here, so we had to negotiate, but we got 3 more broadcasts for you folks of exciting action.
Wide open, absolutely. And that was right in the hands of McGlown, and once again, He had it, but he dropped it.
Yeah, he had it, but he dropped it.
Did he hear footsteps?
He heard footsteps, he heard voices, but here's the thing. McGlown, we already saw him earlier with the big rushing touchdown back in the first quarter. Right now it feels like they're playing with house money if you're Oscar Smith. They're going out here. These plays that we're seeing, Greg, aren't for the Warwick game where they're leading 18-0 right now. These plays are for a game 2 weeks from now, for a game 4 weeks from now, for a game in the playoffs where you might need a play in a situation like this. It's almost like they're having a scrimmage right now.
It seems like Oscar Smith is just trying to work on themselves.
Yes.
And really,
as we all work on ourselves. All right?
We're all a work in progress. But you can do that with an 18-0 lead, defending state champions. The first thing first, they got points on the board. And the second thing is they want to get that win. And a beautiful run right there by the quarterback who slides.
That's what I wanted to see.
Very mature.
Yes. Before on the previous scramble, Greg, back in the first half, we saw Lonnie dive head first at the end of the scramble.
That was our buddy L.A.
That slide right there, Lonnie Andrews, that's what I wanted to see. That's that Hollywood slide from L.A., Greg.
And I want to see the Warwick bench proactive. I remember, never forget one time I was working a TV game. We were in the production room, and the guy says, all of y'all are just sitting around watching TV. Get involved. And that's what Warwick right now needs to do is get involved. Get involved when you're on the bench. Pep these players up. Smith throws it deep. Incomplete. We keep saying Smith, folks. That's what they call him in Chesapeake. They just call them Smith. They're that notorious in a good way that you can just say Smith.
Yes, they're that notorious. Some would say nefarious, Greg. I wouldn't say it, but some would. But yes, Smith is just an institution in Chesapeake, as you mentioned, Greg. Just the championships, the players, the lineage of this school, and it just continues to this day. And this team out there playing the Warwick Raiders, this Oscar Smith team is trying to keep that legacy going.
Just heard from a Menchville grad. She said they need to just make some tackles. And, of course, right now we got 7:16 left in the third quarter. Warwick's got the football. Another opportunity here in the second half. At the 41. Not much dice there. And you can see Oscar Smith's confidence. They're playing more relaxed. And then when you're loose and you can run around, you play more free football.
Yeah. Well, it's more free football, but it's also now we can kind of work on some things. Now we can work on what's going on here to see what's going on with ourselves. You know, again, that self-help, working on yourself, working on the deficiencies and the negatives in your game and turning them into positives. And so that's what Oscar Smith is working on right now. For Warwick, they've got to step up right now, and they've got to see what we have to work on here. Because this game, it's still in the balance, Greg, but it's getting late early for the Raiders. So they've got to work on some things right now. Option one is get points on the board.
And Warwick's backup quarterback is getting confidence, too. This is only week number 2. But with Warwick, you want to get some points for your mental confidence.
Yeah.
You don't want to be shut out 2 weeks in a row.
No, you want to get some points on the board. And granted, the first 2 games they scheduled this season were against tough competition. You know, you want to kind of measure yourself. But right now, it's about, hey, we're down 3 scores in this game. But we can still, if not win this game, we can still make it competitive. We can still claw out of this thing. What are some positives we can take from this game? And scoring would go a long way towards helping them out from a mental standpoint, Greg.
1st and 10 at Smith's 44. Nice run by the Raiders. Meredith, of course. Remember they had a player named Bacon a few years ago?
Yes. Yeah, I remember, yep. Chasing Bacon. And then, you know, again, this is kind of a new version of this Warwick Raiders team, Greg. Coach Hairston is gone. Coach Sykes is now leading this program. You don't have Eduardo Rios behind center. You don't have Messiah Delhome playing both sides of the ball. You don't have some of those great players we mentioned over the last 2 or 3 seasons for Warwick. But you still got some talent here, Greg. It's just a matter of these young Raiders kind of growing up on the spot.
Because you've seen a lot of teams from both districts make the postseason with losing records, and that didn't happen when you and I were in high school.
No. Back in my day, Greg, you had to earn your way into the playoffs by at least being 500. But and here's the thing: postseason experience, whether you're above 500 or below 500, it can be a good thing for you going forward. But again, I feel, and I think you feel too, Greg, you got to be at least 500 to be a true playoff team.
Right, it was a challenge too. Not much running room there. 5:25 left in the third quarter. Still, Oscar Smith 18, Warwick nothing. But when you have losing records and you still make the postseason, that's a false narrative.
Yeah.
Because you still want to achieve in life. They don't reward mediocrity.
No, and again, it can be positive, Greg. You can take some positive things from it. Experiencing the postseason, just kind of the different feel of the playoffs. But yeah, you've got to be 500 or better to really kind of feel like you've got a shot in the postseason.
This third quarter is flying by quick. You can see Oscar Smith is like exactly what we're saying, working on themselves. That seems like they've got a little bit of a cushion. They're on the road. It's never easy winning on the road at the high school, college, or professional level. $18-0 in favor of Oscar Smith. We'll be back after these messages.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
All right, back to live action. Greg Bickaveris, Nate Milton, late in the third quarter. You've seen a lot of flags tonight. 18-0, Oscar Smith. Nate with the recap.
All right, Greg Bickaveris, as you would expect from the scoreboard, it has been all Oscar Smith, starting out back in the first quarter where we saw a touchdown run, 43 yards by Charles McGlaughlin for the first rushing touchdown of the game for Oscar Smith. Then in the second quarter, we saw our man L.A., Lonnie Andrews, throw 2 TD passes, one to Gibson and one to Meredith. Missed on the 2-point conversion. That puts us at 18-0, which is where we're at now, Greg, with the traveling, visiting Oscar Smith Tigers up on the Warwick Raiders.
We've already had an offer for a guest commentator tonight.
Okay. Somebody trying to take my spot, Greg?
No, it's Kim.
Okay, we can make room for Kim.
She's happy with her day job. Kim, you owe me. You know who I'm talking about. 18-zip, 4:18 left in the third quarter. And a nice run right there by number 8. What can Brown do for you, Nate Milton?
Speaking of Brown, speaking of a delivery service, Warwick needs to deliver some points right now. That should be job number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 for the Warwick Raiders, getting some points on the board.
They've shown they can move the football periodically, but they need to get into pay dirt.
Yep, they can move it between the 20s, Greg, but It's that last step, getting into the end zone, putting some points on the board that they've been having problems with.
Nice big crowd here tonight watching this. Flags all over the place on this balmy Newport News evening. We'll get to the crew list here in the fourth quarter coming up. We'll add some extra hot sauce to it. Only one hot sauce I like. I'm not going to say it, but you can't mess with hot sauce.
So now I'm getting hungry, Greg. Now I'm getting hungry.
Nate, you can't eat this late at your age. You'll be up all night.
Absolutely.
3:37 left. Warwick gets some momentum, Nate, but they keep getting pushed back.
Yeah, and again, those mental errors will hurt you every single time. And again, this is part of the growing process that the Warwick Raiders are kind of going through right now. Greg, the coach Sykes and his staff is going through. But something that doesn't have growing pains, my friend, Sports Highlights, which you can watch Mondays at 7 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. I like to call the Saturday and Sunday shows Breakfast with Big Averis, because you can get up and have some eggs and toast and scrambled eggs and some cereal with Greg Averis and watching Sports Highlights.
And corned beef hash, too.
Corned beef hash, sausage maybe.
It's got to be Greek sausage or a certain type of sausage.
Okay, okay.
Of course, Ray and I went out to CNU, and we can't even go anywhere in public without saying, you know, when are we going to watch the show? And it's really nice.
Well, that's your fault for going out in public with Ray Price.
Yeah.
He is a local and international celebrity. You should learn your lesson by now.
He doesn't like that attention either. But anyway, great showcase.
That's like
CNU.
Walking through Brooklyn with Spike Lee. You're going to draw some eyeballs, Greg.
Absolutely. The head football coach at CNU, the assistant, one of the key players.
Yes.
Great. And, of course, a lot of the Newport News kids go to CNU if they can get accepted, right, Regina? It's not easy getting accepted at CNU anymore.
No, it is not. It is not.
Look, one of the reasons I went to George Mason was I got accepted. Nice run.
Speaking of acceptance, hello.
Great
Hello.
run by the Raiders. That is White Epps trying to look like Jaden Daniels.
Yes, Epps with the play of the night so far for the Warwick Raiders on offense right there. Just he looked like Effie from Dreamgirls. And if you've seen Dreamgirls, the movie or the play, you know what I'm talking about. He said, no way. I'm not leaving without some points on the board, and you gonna love me, Greg Averis, when I score this touchdown for the Warwick Raiders, sir.
Whatever it takes to get in the end zone.
That was a shout out for all the theater kids in the audience tonight.
Who needs Chris Rock? We got Nate here. Chris Rock's hilarious.
Just wait till I get to my Hamilton material, Greg.
Exactly. We haven't got to the fourth quarter yet. Oscar Smith is trying to prevent Warwick from scoring. They want a shutout. Smith got shut out last week, so they want to take the revenge out of Warwick. Hopefully it won't happen for the Raiders if you're a Raiders fan. Again, we want to welcome our audience from both sides of the water, all over the Mid-Atlantic states. We're not doing the text club tonight. We'll probably do it later on in the season. We'll give it a pass tonight. But thank you for connecting on YouTube as well. NNPS Telecom.
Absolutely.
18-0. Second and goal. Warwick one left to right in the yellow. Like the yellow submarine. They score. Warwick's got new life.
Warwick Raiders finally hitting pay dirt. That is a big touchdown, Greg, for the Raiders. Not only does it draw the score closer, but mentally, from a mental standpoint, you've been battling all game long, fighting all night long. You get the big play from Epps on the previous run, and then just straight up the gut, straight up the middle, bread and butter play between the tackles. The Warwick Raiders are on the board, Greg, now going for the PAT.
Like Nate would say, it's getting late early in Yogi. 18-6. Warwick's got to make some big plays on defense as well. And it's a block. You're still down 2 scores. And what happens is when you're down in the fourth quarter, the clock is like the hourglass.
Yes.
It goes by quick. It's like sand in an hourglass.
Yes, so are the days of our lives, my friend. And that clock is like a secondary opponent. You're not just playing the team across the field from you, but you're playing the clock. You're playing that time winding down. And so you have to be proactive and be selective about the plays you run in the fourth quarter.
You want to take advantage of playing these solid state power teams early because, like we said, as the weeks go on, they're going to button up.
Yes. You have to catch them early. Catch them while they slipping, Greg, because in 2 or 3 weeks, this will be a much different Oscar Smith team than the team we've seen tonight, which has had some hiccups, which has made some mistakes, which has had some undue penalties. This team is going to clean up those mistakes and be a powerhouse once again as we near the middle of the season.
Again, Chris Scott, the head coach of Oscar Smith for several years now. For Warwick Thomas Sykes, year number 1. Scott and company won a state championship last year for Oscar Smith from Chesapeake. Division 6 power for years. Oscar Smith trying to go to 1-1. Same with Warwick. One good thing is we haven't seen too many injuries tonight.
No, not too many injuries, not too many silly personal fouls or any fighting or any extracurriculars, shall we say, after the whistle. Not like we saw last night in the Cowboys game where we had a player ejected 6 seconds in.
Week 1 is so difficult no matter what level, no matter what sport. And, of course, you just saw where Caitlin Clark is done for the season.
Yeah.
It seemed like she could never get a grasp of year number 2, whether it was mentally, emotionally, or physically. Yeah,
this has been a rough season for Caitlin Clark again. She had that great rookie season, but then this year just never really able to get it on track. So hopefully she comes back in year 3 bigger and stronger and better than ever. But again, the WNBA is so fun to watch, Greg. We've seen Paige Beckers just have this great rookie season. We're seeing a continued improvement from somebody like an Angel Reese. So I'm excited to see what the playoffs will look like for the WNBA with the Liberty and with the Aces finally starting to play like the Aces.
We'll see what Oscar Smith can do. So many great players there in the Great Bridge section of Chesapeake.
And again, going back to that game last night, Greg, we mentioned Josh Sweat, not only a great player, but a Super Bowl champion. He's got
Wasn't
a ring.
there a singer named Keith Sweat, too?
Yes, I knew Greg Vicaveras. I knew that I saw some Keith Sweat on your playlist. That's your pregame playlist. Keith Sweat, Al B. Shore, and Bobby Brown is what Greg Vicaveras is getting hyped for before the game.
Nate, you remember the song or the group Run DMC,
Yeah.
You Talk Too Much.
I spilled the secret.
I actually heard Fox Sports Radio playing that as bumper music recently.
Bobby Brown?
No, Run DMC.
Run DMC? It's so funny now, just hearing music that we grew up with that's used on commercials.
And it's on YouTube.
bumpers.
You go to YouTube and listen to it.
Yep. But yes, Keith Sweat, great R&B singer. He now hosts a radio show, I believe, based out of D.C., I want to say.
18
The
to
Sweat
6.
Hotel.
There you go. And of course, Josh Sweat played for Oscar Smith.
Yes, Josh Sweat and Montez Sweat should join up with Keith Sweat and do a podcast together.
Late in the third quarter, Nate the musician. That seemed like yesterday we were at Lou Smith watching you perform.
Yes.
You remember that group?
Those were the days.
That was my all-time favorite grocery store.
Yes.
18 to 6.
Big play. This Warwick defense is still here, Greg. They're still here to play.
And it picks up the energy of the whole team.
Yeah.
We talked about the bench support, how important it is. You've got to be active on all cylinders. Once again, this is week 2, prep football on YouTube. Both teams are 0-1. And Smith from Chesapeake, with 20 seconds left in the third quarter, leads it by 12. Outlet pass is complete. Not much. So we're going to go into the fourth quarter with the score, Oscar Smith 18, Warwick 6. Stay tuned. We'll be back after these messages.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
Two flashlights.
Feel like you get taller every time I see you. Congratulations.
And we are back at Todd Stadium for the fourth quarter of this exciting matchup between the Oscar Smith Tigers and the Warwick Raiders. Nate Milton, Greg Bicaveras bringing you the call, along with our staff and student crew here, coming to you from John B. Todd Stadium.
Nate, let's go ahead and get your report card.
All right, so for the report card, here you go.
As far as the crew is concerned.
As far as the crew.
And the crew gets an A+.
I was giving everybody grades. I was giving Ray Price a grade. I was giving you a grade.
And the funny thing is, we did a report card all the time.
Yes, yes. I was going to give catering a grade. But yes, the crew has done excellent tonight, and we will be shouting them out here individually in just a little bit. All right. So we got a great crew tonight, led by our director, Brandon Hedgepeth, he of the famous Hedgepeth brothers. We've got Ethan Clinkenbeard. I had to say it slowly, not because I didn't know how to pronounce it, because I wanted y'all to soak in the greatness that Ethan has brought to the crew tonight. We got Mansour Ahmed, of course, here, helping the kids out as our engineer. We've got Carl Daniels, the truth, here as well. Josh Stuck, little Eli is back with us. We've got Muriel Gamble. You got to know when to hold them, Muriel. You got to know when to fold them. Walk away and then you run. We got Emery Whitfield here with us, Cameron Key. We've got Aiden Montez Rodriguez, Kamari Bryant. We've got John Benoit, and we've got Mason Sterner and Nigel McCallum on our crew tonight.
All right. See if Warwick can get some juice going on in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
Keep that momentum going from the third quarter.
Yes, you got to keep it going. And as I just read off our crew list, every crew knows you have to build upon past success. Warwick has had some success here, finally, in the late stages of this game, and they've got to build on that. They've got to continue to push it forward. Much like Ray Price has led this team here to victory time after time after time, Thomas Sykes has to lead this Warwick team to a come-from-behind victory. Can they do it? That's the question, Greg. They've got to not only beat Oscar Smith, but they're playing the clock, my friend.
And the clock waits for nobody. And Warwick right now has to watch it. As soon as you get that big play, you have to get back up with your feet and go back at it again.
Yes, keep the pedal to the metal. Unlike driving through that tunnel traffic, Greg, keep your foot on the gas all the way here in the fourth quarter. You got to make a statement right here, right now.
Very curious what the Newport Youth and Hampton schools will be doing on a totality after week number 2. See what Woodside does as well. Newport Youth had a rough start last week, 0-4. Right now, we're in the fourth quarter, 10:55 left in the game. It's 18-6, Warwick with the ball and some momentum. At the 38 of Smith. Going right to left in the all-yellow gold uniforms. They need to strike some gold, too.
Yes, they need to strike some gold. Maybe get one of those pans and go out there and prospect like back in the day. But here's the thing. What I'm seeing right now from Warwick is a team that is still in this game, Greg, despite all of the struggles they've had for the entirety of this game, despite the setbacks, despite the mental mistakes. They are still in this contest, but they have to start capitalizing on these opportunities, Greg.
Absolutely. What are your plans for tomorrow?
Besides working, my plans for tomorrow are, just kind of getting ready for our next game, Greg, on October the 11th. We got some time until then, but I'm going to be watching these teams to see what's going on. What about you, my friend? What do you got going on?
I'm going to find a local pool and stay in there for a couple hours.
Just relax, just soak.
Woo! Nice defense by Smith.
Wow.
Number 11 stepping his game up. Mr. White.
Speaking of soaking, like that quarterback is going to have to soak after tonight's game, I'm sure.
Oscar Smith is saying we are not going to leave the peninsula without a W.
No, like who wants to
take that W off the Warwick helmet?
Who wants to drive through the tunnel with a loss?
Everybody, we all have one thing in common here, if nothing else. We all suffer from PTSD from every tunnel in Hampton Roads. Every single tunnel. 664, 64, James River Bridge, the Gloucester Tunnel. The one good thing now, going to Yorktown to Gloucester is free. It doesn't cost $2 anymore. That's free. Well, we all have tunnel phobia here.
Yes. So you're saying we suffer from persistent tunnel sadness disorder.
Exactly. It is horrible. I don't think Dr. Phil can help me out.
No, he could. See, Greg, the problem is not the tunnel that you're driving through. It's the tunnel in your heart, Greg. You got to find a bridge to your happiness, Greg. It's on the other side, my friend.
We're just trying to find a bridge from the fourth quarter to the end of the game.
Yes.
But I feel bad for these Oscar Smith kids. They got to go back through the tunnel to get home.
Yes, it's going to be a long night. Win or lose, it's going to be a long night for Oscar Smith. So if you are the Tigers, you'd much rather take that long drive with a W.
I gave you some scores early on from week one for the Newport News teams. What do they all need to do collectively to go forward? Because the season can go by quick.
Yeah. The easy answer, Greg, kind of the flippant answer would be score points, because that's something that all four teams had trouble doing in week one. But I think deeper than that, Greg, you've got to figure out who you are. What is your identity as a team, especially offensively? Are you a running team? Are you an option team? Are you a passing team? Figure out who you are and then walk in that path, walk in that truth.
Walk on the ground and a decent run. But like we said all night long, time waits for nobody. And that was White Epps. Warwick's had some great quarterbacks like we mentioned. Joe Slade, the Vick brothers.
Yes.
But they need a little bit more tonight. Rios, of course.
Yes, Eduardo Rios. But again, kind of that gold standard in the modern era. When you look at what Mike Vick did, not only at Warwick, but then at Virginia Tech, and then in the NFL, and just to see his journey, Greg, and maybe some of the mistakes he's made and how he's kind of turned his life around, went to being a broadcaster with Fox Sports, and now coming back full circle as the head coach at Norfolk State. And so again, we talked about their loss in week one, but just him being at Norfolk State, I think it brings energy to that program. It brings some energy to the city, and I'm rooting for Mike Vick to turn that program around.
Absolutely. And number 4 almost gets tangled with the entire team, but still is on his feet. Decent run there by Curtis. And the clock is moving, 8:32 left. Oscar Smith up by 12.
That is the big issue right now, Greg, for Warwick. The clock. You might be able to stop Oscar Smith, but you can't stop the clock, Greg, as you said. Time is always moving forward like sands, through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives. They need to make a play right now.
We have an injury on the field. It is 18-6. And we'll take a break, and we'll be back after these messages.
Two flashlights.
What's up, champ? Feel like you get taller every time I see you. Congratulations, Brandon.
All right, welcome back to Live Action. Greg Bickaveris, Nate Milton, glad you're with us. The entire crew, our 35th year of Newport News High School football. My 37th overall doing high school, 2 years in Northern Virginia. Nate, you did some stuff overseas as well.
Yes, I also did work on the Air Force Base with the Armed Forces Television Network in Japan. I did some work in college, and then, I had to bring it back, though, Greg. It's nothing like being here in Newport News, being here at NNPS TV, as there's a flag on the field. But, it's great to be back for another season of high school football action with you, my friend.
Absolutely. I remember working with a guy named Dave Gilbert when I did George Mason home games analysis my senior year, but y'all two are the top two I've worked with. Of course, Nate, working with you is not like working, my friend.
Yes.
It's like butter.
Like butter?
I mean, I like a lot of butter on the toast. It's nothing worse than getting dry toast. There's nothing worse than dry toast. Almost like, can we take the toast back?
Again, not to promote any brand, but I remember back in the day, you used to get that, like the tub of butter, and just put it on some blueberry muffins or English muffin, Greg, a croissant. Just let it melt, and that's what you need to see. I'm bringing it back to football, ladies and gentlemen. If you are the offense for the Warwick Raiders, you want it to melt like a pat of butter on your croissant, Greg. Right now, it's like that pat of butter straight out the refrigerator.
That's a referee, Donald Young, doing a great job. But the officials are having a field day out here today.
They are melting like the butter right now. They are.
Or like the catalytic converter.
Yes.
A little pep in your step.
Put a little pep in your step again. Shout out to Mike Knox, who's tuning into the game as we speak. A great guy out there in Newport News, knows a lot about the history of football in this area. I'm sure he wants better for the Warwick Raiders, but this is a team, Greg, that, like we said, is in transition, and they are trying to find that new identity after so many years under Coach Harrison.
8:19 left in the fourth quarter. Little stoppage and play among the officials. All doing a great job. Peninsula Football Officials Association. Also thank you to Dwayne Bourne providing us with the officials list. Nate, give us our schedule the rest of the football season.
Absolutely, Greg. We got some great games on the horizon coming up here. Hand-picked, hand-selected by the great Ray Price, Greg Bickaveris, and myself. Of course, as I mentioned, our next game is October the 11th. We're talking Menchfield, we're talking Denby, one of the best rivalries in the city of Newport News. After that, Greg, we're coming right back from a Saturday to a Thursday with Heritage and the Menchfield Monarchs, and that is on October 16th. And then closing out our season, Greg, October 24th, we got Wolverines, we got Patriots. It's Woodside versus Denby closing out the schedule. So again, we got 3 more great games this season, Greg, with the crew here, and we're going to be excited to bring you guys and girls all the action on NNPS Telecom.com.
Well said. Right now, the game is like at a standstill right now. We've had 2 hours and 22 minutes of elapsed time. Most high school games should go 2 hours, 30 minutes max.
Yeah.
When you have a lot of penalties, it can make that grow.
A lot of penalties, and you got two teams that primarily have been doing it on the ground today.
And Oscar Smith doesn't want any unforced errors here late in the fourth quarter. A few of the players kind of exchanging pleasantries outside. You mentioned movies earlier on. What's been your movie of the year?
It's going to sound crazy, Greg, but a movie that I really enjoyed this year that I didn't think I would like as much as I did, the new Superman. It actually kind of grows on me, and that Crypto, Greg. A lot of people say they got that dog in them these days, but Crypto is a real dog out there when he was fighting those villains. What about you? What
I've
movie
heard
this
a lot
year?
about it. Mike Francesa, who has his own podcast like we do.
Yeah.
Sports Scene, of course, with Greg Picaveras on the Odyssey app, wherever you get your podcast. Nate Milton.
Yes, the Kings of Sport, part of the Nefarious Media Network, folks.
And, of course, Mike did a show on WFN for years, radio show.
Yep.
But he totally couldn't stand Superman. Now, the best two Supermans of all time were George Reeve and Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
If you look at the old Superman on YouTube, unbelievable. And they didn't have great audio and video back then. And, of course, Christopher Reeve, let his soul rest in peace, both of them.
Yeah.
But those were the best two.
Yeah.
Kind of like Batman. You always have your favorite Batman. Michael Keaton was
There's
up
been
there.
so many Batman, too. That's the thing. But, yeah, Christopher Reeve to me is always, you mentioned George Reeve, but Christopher Reeve is always going to be that gold standard of Superman and how Superman should feel as a viewer. And that's what I would say. The gentleman that played Superman in the new movie, David Cornsweet, he actually kind of gave me some Christopher Reeve vibes, man. Like, I don't know this new Superman, but I kind of like him. And it's about time because there's been so many Superman that I haven't liked over the years.
It's all great acting. Oscar Smith up by 12. Not a dominant performance by either team.
No.
Nice catch, though. Woo. Oscar Smith saving the best for last.
Wow.
Smith saving the best for last. And their 1-2 punch connects with Charles McLeod. And just like that, it's 24-6, Smith.
Wow. Once again, it happens, and that may have been the one that closes the door, folks. L.A., Lonnie Andrews once again connects with his guy, Charles McGaughan. Charles McGaughan takes it to the house, and Warwick is down big. Warwick is up against the wall right now because they are down big to the defending state champions. Oscar Smith may have just taken control of this game for good, Greg.
They're going for two again, and they still don't make it. Flags down, though.
Play, though.
24-6. Hasn't been pretty, but Smith keeps on plugging away.
No, it hasn't been pretty, but it has been effective at the end of the day, Greg. They get the job done, survive in advance. They finally look to have some rhythm with this offense, Greg. And so if they can take what worked from tonight and take it to the remainder of the season, Oscar Smith may be in good shape, but they got to limit those penalties. They've got to limit those mistakes, those self-errors, those unforced errors. They got to clean that up if they want to repeat and go back-to-back as champs.
24-6. Crowd starting to leave. It's very difficult to make up this type of points in a high school game.
Yeah, especially when there's only 7 minutes left. Like, there's just not enough time for it to work. Like, we've seen stranger things happen in the world and in football, but I don't believe we're going to see that miraculous comeback, unfortunately, for the hometown heroes, the Warwick Raiders.
(24-6), 7:06 left. Now, if you're Warwick and Coach Sykes, you still want to build on the momentum. It's going to be tough to get a win this late, but you got to look forward to finishing out strong and getting ready for Bethel.
Right. Well, that's the thing. The remainder of this game for Warwick is not really about this game, Greg. As there you see, just coaching up his young men on the sidelines, coaching through the end of the game. That's what it's all about here. building that culture. Coach Sykes is trying to instill that in these young men, Greg. But again, the last 7 minutes of this game is not about this game. It's about what happens when you start playing the Bethels and the Phoebuses and the Denbys and the Warwicks and the Minchvilles, the games that count in your own division. That's when it matters, in your own district, Greg. This game, it hurts to lose, but ultimately it's not really going to affect them in the district. They've got to take the lessons from this game and apply it to the rest of their season because they got some tough matchups on the horizon.
But you lose points in the playoff standings and those very important VHSL standings at the end of the year. Regardless, great heart, great fight, great grit by both teams. It's early. It's hard to always get interested. Sometimes you get, lackadaisical when you're winning. And you have to make an effort. It's matched effort, matched energy.
Yeah, and again, if you're looking at this from the Oscar Smith side of the coin, the last game they got ambushed and they got mollywopped. They got mollywopped by Gonzaga. They went on to enemy territory, and they just did not look good. They did not look sharp. They made up for that tonight against Warwick. There's some mistakes definitely that they got to clean up, and they've got to get straight. But they look like a much more cohesive unit, especially offensively tonight against the Raiders.
Warwick's got the football. One right to left on the YouTube dial. Another stoppage in play. See the referee Donald Young in the white hat. Penalty on the Raiders. And both teams have some cleaning up to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is going to end up a win for Oscar Smith, but it was far from perfect, far from efficient, and what you want to see from a defending champion. For the Warwick Raiders, though, again, this is a game where you've got to take the positives out of this. You've got to say, okay, this is what worked, this is what did not work, and this is what we got to do to get ready for the Phoebuses and the Bethels and the Kicatans of the world, because they're coming.
And Division 6 is always tough as well. All the population by divisions. Fumble! And it looks like Smith has got it. When it rains, it pours, even on this humid night.
Yep.
And it's pouring late.
Yes, if Dandy Don Meredith were with us, Greg, this would be the point of the game where he would start singing, turn out the lights, the party is over, because that was the last best hope for the Warwick Raiders. And, they're not going to escape going 0-2 to start the season.
Donald Young, the referee, is saying this is not the young and restless.
This is not the young and the restless.
He's done a great job tonight.
I was hoping, speaking of the young and the restless, speaking of Days of Our Lives, anybody that watched Days of Our Lives know there was one villain named Stefano. No matter how many times they got rid of Stefano, Stefano kept coming back, Greg. I was hoping that maybe Warwick could be like Stefano and come back, but it's just not enough time, and they just don't have the weapons offensively to come back against this Oscar Smith team.
Absolutely. You always wonder why some of these daytime actors and actresses never evolved into primetime or movies, and some of them are better actors than the prime time or on the big screen.
Yes.
I don't get that.
Victor Newman, the actor that played Victor Newman, the actor that played Stefano DeMera.
Lucci.
Oh, Susan Lucci, yes, that's another great actor.
Took a long time to get some respect.
And then you see some soap opera actors or actresses like Denzel started on the soap operas and transitioned that into films. And so it's just kind of a weird thing with Hollywood. Like, if I knew Greg, I'd be on General Hospital with Stephen A. Smith.
I went to the daytime awards way back in '88 when I was doing my internship at then WCBS Radio in New York, and met a lot of them. It was really cool. Met Ray Combs, the late Ray Combs.
Yes, former host of the Family Feud.
Yes, he did a great job. Of course, Richard Dawson was great.
Yep, Richard Dawson, and then Richard Karn was host for a while, and now Steve Harvey hosts the Family Feud.
And my favorite was The Joker's Wild. I love that game show.
So many great game shows back in the day. Press Your Luck. The Pyramid, the $25,000 Pyramid.
Yeah, so many great game shows. This is not a game show tonight, folks. This has been so-so of a football game, but regardless, like my dad would always say, let the best team win.
Yeah.
And tonight, you know, when you're taking on a state championship team, they have a pedigree of winning. They know how to win. Even when they're playing bad or subpar, they find a way to win. Just like in a relationship or communication, if you don't communicate, things are not going to work out. We have all this communication, and people still don't communicate enough. And that's the problem.
Absolutely. This is, you know, you said this is not a game show, Greg. I agree. I feel like this is more like a reality show because Warwick got a reality check tonight. It's like, you know what? We were outmatched, and yes, we have injuries. Yes, we have players that are missing, but we got to find a way to be more consistent on offense. We can't put this much pressure on our defense to hold our opponents below 10 points every game. We got to do something on the offensive side of the football to help our defense out.
Oscar Smith off of Battlefield Boulevard in the Great Bridge section of Chesapeake, holding the fort down. And they get sacked. Both teams are starting to get tired now.
And like you said, Greg, a champion, like we've seen it with the Kansas City Chiefs. Like how many times in the last couple of seasons has it looked like, oh, Patrick Mahomes and the offense aren't playing that well, but they find a way to win. And that's what we've seen from Oscar Smith tonight. They didn't have their best game offensively, but they found a way to win. That's what champions do.
And they build momentum for week 3.
Yep.
Oscar Smith will go 1-1. Warwick will go to 0-2. The thing is, Warwick needs to find a way to win next week.
Yeah. Anyway, just find a way to win. That is the game plan. That is the first, second, and third objective. Find a way to win and put some points on the board, more importantly.
Consistently, too. Take what you learned from this game and use it for week 3, week 4, and the rest of the weeks. Because nobody's going to lay down for either team.
No. If the score holds, Greg, they would have scored 6 points, a total of 6 points in 2 games. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it.
These kids are all about the same age. Plenty of daylight there for the pass. And when you throw it up the middle in between a lot of yellow jerseys, that could have been an opportunity. And Smith right now needs to be more conservative.
Yeah, Smith right now just throwing stuff up against the wall, trying to see if it sticks, much like, you know, when your grandma used to throw that spaghetti on the wall, Greg, to see if it was ready, if it was al dente. That pass was not al dente.
I don't remember my grandmother ever throwing spaghetti against the wall, Nate.
Maybe it was just in movies, Greg.
Yes.
Maybe it's something I just saw in movies.
I love spaghetti too much.
To throw it against the wall?
Yes. Even Regina can cook spaghetti.
I'm sure Regina's throwing spaghetti up against the wall. Regina's saying no. So maybe, Brandon, you thrown spaghetti up against the wall, haven't you? Brandon says, I don't even eat spaghetti. You're no help, Brandon.
You got to respect the food, Nate. Respect the food. All right, Oscar Smith with the ball. 4th and 24. They're going for it. Why not? They're winning.
Oh.
Was a catch, but not enough dice.
He is living dangerously right now.
24-6. Oscar Smith going to win on the road. And that'll give you confidence. These are kids. They need confidence boost. This is a nice confidence boost for Oscar Smith. Yes, they won the state championship last year, but it's a different team. There are players that played on the team that are back that can help these younger kids, but it's still a different team. Look at UNC. How many different players they had the other night. They got beat pretty bad.
Yeah.
Good luck against Charlotte tomorrow. But every year is different now in high school, college, and pro football, especially with the NIL and the portal in college football.
Yeah, the NIL and the portal have completely revolutionized college football and the way teams are constructed. We even see successful players leave teams like Carson Beck, who we thought was going to be successful at Georgia in Miami and the success he had with the Hurricanes.
Flags down again. Again, I've never seen so much yellow on a field in my life.
Between the flags and Warwick's jerseys.
And Todd and Newport News.
A lot of yellow.
I had a former Newport News high school graduate reach out to me. And of course, that football field is still there. I remember my dad and I went and saw Hampton play Ferguson there, the old gym down there. But maybe they ought to bring it back. Who knows?
I was gonna say, or at least
as a museum.
Somebody needs to, I'm not a documentary filmmaker. Maybe somebody like Brandon Hedgepeth and the Hedgepeth brothers can go out there and start filming, do a documentary on the history of that field and what it's meant to this area. Because I do feel like, Greg, the more we're in this new age with all this new media and this new technology, it's great. It pushes us forward. But there are things that are lost in terms of history and tradition and some of these stories of these great teams from years going by.
Warwick on the ground. You got to love Oscar Smith's crowd. Traveled from the Great Bridge area in Chesapeake to come over here on a Friday night. Now, one thing is, it does cost money to come into a game, but it's free to watch it on YouTube.
Absolutely free to watch it on YouTube. And you know what, Greg? I haven't done it at all tonight, but I feel like it's about that time, ladies and gentlemen, because whether you're in Boston or Boise, Fargo or Fresno, New Orleans to New York and all points in between, you are watching the best in prep football action on NNPS TV, NNPS Telecom on YouTube, live and in living color. Shout out to the crew bringing you the sights and sounds of tonight's contest.
Our first game of the season, our 35th year, whether on cable TV or the internet. And NFL score, yes, they're playing on Friday night.
Yes, from Brazil.
It is the Chargers 13, the Chiefs 6. And the Chiefs, even last year, even though they made the Super Bowl, when they do make it, it seems like there's something missing.
Yeah.
They need more offensive explosiveness. Like the Penn State coach always says, explosive plays. Well, the Chiefs need some dynamite.
Yes, and if it feels like something's missing, Greg, it's because it is always missing. Whether it's a player being hurt last year, like Xavier Worthy was hurt a lot of the season for the Chiefs, or a player being suspended and not being available for the Chiefs early on in the season. But Patrick Mahomes, we all know he is the best quarterback in the game. Already a Hall of Famer is Patrick Mahomes, but he can't do it by himself. We saw Jalen Hurts, the weapons Jalen Hurts has. We see the great team assembled around Josh Allen, the great team assembled around Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes is great, but one man cannot be a team, Greg. We've seen that many times.
Yeah, we saw the Eagles beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Badly.
In February. And, of course, in all due respect, but the Chiefs are not what they were. There's a lot of distractions, of course, with Kelsey, wonder by who. And she's got a podcast now,
Greg,
too.
Watch it, Greg. We don't want the Swifties coming after us here, Greg.
We don't.
We don't need, and I have it on good authority, Ethan is a Swiftie, so I don't want smoke with Ethan tonight. We've had a great relationship so far tonight. Let's not sow division in the booth.
Nate, are you a Swiftie?
I may be a Swiftie, Greg, because I knew you were trouble the moment you walked in, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We used to have mad love, Greg. Now we got bad blood.
My good buddy Carl's out here, too. Always good to see Carl.
Carl may be a Swiftie.
Carl went to a traditional football school, Bethel. Bethel won the state championship in 74, 76, and 92 under Coach Kaz.
Classic teams, classic coaches.
Classic school colors.
Yep.
Nate and I like the classic uniforms.
Absolutely.
2:08 left. All right, so Warwick is going to dip to 0-2. Oscar Smith 1-1. That sounds a lot better mentally, 1-1.
Yes. Well, not only does that sound a lot better, but what looks a lot better, Greg, is the 24 points on the board for Oscar Smith.
Because they got beat really bad last week.
Yeah, finally getting some offense going. Lonnie Andrews, L.A., finally looking like Hollywood. Kids call him Hollywood. We finally saw Hollywood touchdown here at Todd Stadium tonight. And it wasn't Taylor Swift, much to Ethan's chagrin. It was not Taylor Swift. Just shake it off, Ethan.
Very impressed by Andrews, McGlown, as well as Gibson tonight.
Absolutely.
Oscar Smith still has plenty of weapons.
Yeah, and the coaching staff has to be impressed by what they've done here with Coach Scott and his team for Oscar Smith. Again, Greg, this is a team that in name is the defending champion, but as you mentioned, a lot of these young men are new or they're starters for the first time, and so it's got to be an adjustment period.
And the seniors need to provide leadership.
Absolutely.
And, of course, you get confidence when you get wins. See, at this age, it's hard to process. You're still maturing as a young kid, turning into an adult. And when you lose, you take it really hard.
Yeah, you got to, the old saying, Greg, when you lose, don't lose the lesson. Because there is always a lesson to be learned, whether in victory or defeat. And so that goes for Warwick as well as Oscar Smith. Because there are things Warwick can take from this loss and use it as a teachable moment to get better as the season progresses.
This game has almost gone 3 full hours. I mean, it's almost Saturday morning.
This is a Gilligan's Island game, Greg. We've been on a 3-hour tour, my friend.
It's almost Saturday morning, folks.
It is. It is.
I mean, it's late Friday night. You see Oscar Smith in the white, gold, and blue. They're tired. These kids wake up early, too.
You talk about starting at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning to almost 10 o'clock at night. Been a long, long day for these young men, but it's that much sweeter when you actually have a victory. So you talk about a long day, long shift, hard days, night type of thing. Oscar Smith has had a hard day, but they've coming out with the victory tonight, Greg.
And that's the injured player right there. That's Rodriguez. Out there is Akira. Of course, these kids start their day sometime at 6 in the morning. And right now it's almost 10 o'clock at night. And they're not going to get home till well after 11.
No. And
the tunnel doesn't wait for anybody either.
These young kids, they can do that. They can adapt. Greg, I remember when you and I used to be able to adapt.
Look who's driving you home tonight. You got more rides than anybody.
I pay for the best chauffeurs in town. I'm like Ric Flair. We started the night with Ric Flair. We're going to end the night with Ric Flair. I'm wheeling, dealing, limousine riding, jet flying.
Since we're on YouTube, some of the best wrestling matches of all time are on YouTube. Wahoo McDaniel.
Yes.
Blackjack Mulligan.
Yes.
Paul Jones. Igor. You remember Igor? Ricky Steamboat.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Both Johnny Valentine and Greg Valentine.
Yes.
You and I saw TNA several years ago.
Yes, we did. We at the
I saw Greg Valentine wrestle at Newport News.
Was it at the Constant where we saw TNA, Constant Convocation Center?
Yes.
Yeah.
My dad and I saw Greg Valentine wrestle. And, I mean, these guys, they're solo.
The late, great Hulk Hogan.
Yes,
recently
he passed away this year. He wrestled against some classics, too.
Yes, Hulk Hogan wrestled Iron Sheik, Roddy Piper, Andre the Giant.
Greg Valentine.
Greg the Hammer Valentine.
As Oscar Smith right now trying to seal the deal, as we call it. We like to say this word, checkmate.
Yes.
This is a game of chess. It's checkmate. All right, so we wrap it up here. Oscar Smith wins on the road 24-6 over the Warwick Raiders. Oscar Smith 1-1, the defending state champions. Warwick 0-2. Both will look forward to the next game.
I love that, Greg. If you look at the graphic right there, full time. It's like this is a soccer game. Like it's full time. We went across the pond right there, my friend. But yes, this has been a learning experience, a teachable moment for the Warwick Raiders. They're going to bounce back from this, though, my friend.
Chris Scott and Oscar Smith victorious. Of course, they got Indian River, Kings Fork, Hickory, Deep Creek, Grassfield, Ward. It's got Bethel, Heritage, Phoebus, Menchville, Woodside coming up. Warwick's got to find a win.
Warwick has to find a win. They got to find a way to a win, and that is whether we start to reestablish the run, whether we do something, because we cannot depend on our defense to lead the way. The offense has to step up. The offense has to put in its part of the deal, has to chip in, at least put a little something on the bill. But again, all credit due to Oscar Smith, Greg. They're the defending state champions for a reason, and we saw it in the second half tonight.
And they played like a champion today.
Yes.
A champion finds a way to win in 4 quarters. Once again, the final score, Oscar Smith 24 and Warwick 6. For Nate Milton, I'm Greg Picaveras. We'll talk to you soon.